NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 is KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KUPD HD2 Tempe Phoenix.
And welcome to Real Hockey Talk right here on NBC Sports AM 1060. And of course, today we're out at Peoria Sports Complex where we have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the Seattle Mariners. Spring training is here, and it's very weird and interesting that we have a hockey show going out at the spring training complex. But, of course, we'll talk about some baseball a little later on as well. Of course, with one of the most exciting times of year right now. And, of course, already 90 degrees in the Phoenix area. But, you know, we'll have some fun with it. And Dave should be here momentarily, but Greg here with you right now. So we'll talk about everything going on in the hockey world. You know, since the trade deadline, we hadn't had a show. So, you know, we'll talk about some of what went on across the National Hockey League. We'll check in on the Coyotes, talk a little bit about the Mikkel Bottker move and, you know, how that may work out with some of the young pieces and perhaps letting one of the young pieces go back into the draft where you can get a second-round pick back for that, of course. So, you know, assets like that are extremely huge to have. Yeah, so a lot of fun out here. If you have not been out to spring training at all yet, I mean, there's so many different great facilities out here. You definitely have to check it out here. Peoria Sports Complex is great. And really all the fields around the valley, you know, Camelback Ranch, you can't go wrong with that, with the Dodgers and White Sox there. And then, of course, a talking stick with your Diamondbacks and Rockies out over there. So, you know, again, in the third hour, we'll get into all that stuff. And as promised, the first two, as normal, is Real Hockey Talk. And so we'll get right into that. And, of course, going on right now, there's an absolutely huge game. Remember about a month ago, and we said this here on our show, you know, that there was no chance really that anyone else in the Pacific Division would catch up to the Kings, who, you know, had that huge lead. Everyone was kind of on a roller coaster ride. You know, we saw Anaheim get off to that awful start, and then all of a sudden the Ducks had started to turn around. San Jose was part of that roller coaster. You know, the Coyotes were kind of in there. But, you know, it's 10, 12-point lead, and that's changed. You know, it's not like the Kings have even played that bad. The Ducks have just been taking the league on fire. I mean, was it going 11 straight wins, just playing absolutely amazing hockey right now. They beat L.A. At the Honda Center here just earlier this week, and what a huge game, you know, for them to get those 2 points in regulation. You know, Kings not getting a point out of that, not getting it to overtime. So a game like that is huge, but right now that's at Staples Center, and so it's going to be absolutely amazing this afternoon. Big-time hockey there, and, of course, the Coyotes division rivals going at it. And you could say a couple different things. You know, you make the playoffs, and we've seen in the past, I mean, you know, teams with the best record in the conference or league, you know, a lot of times they don't win the Stanley Cup. So a few years ago, speaking about L.A., you know, back when it was conference, 1 seed through 8 seed, you know, they were the 8th seed, win the Cup pretty easily, too. And then, you know, we've seen with Chicago, you know, third place in their division, but, of course, winning the Cup. You know, L.A., when they won again in 2014, you know, they didn't win the Cup. So, you know, you have some things like that. So it's really about getting into the playoffs, and you got to just be prepared. You don't want to get, you know, too boggled down, too tired before that. But also, you want to win the division in the sense of, you know, you want to win games. And you get that extra home ice advantage. That's always key. And again, the 2 division winners per conference would play one of the wild card teams. So right now, you know, it's likely whoever wins the Central would finish first in the, you know, in the West. So they would play that second wild card team, and the Pacific Division winner would, you know, play the first wild card team. And so, you know, you have that, and then whoever doesn't win the Pacific, you'll have the bloodbath of California, where, you know, we'll probably see a situation of, you know, San Jose, Anaheim, San Jose, L.A., something around those lines. And we don't want to count San Jose out for winning the division. They're only a few points back. But I don't think it's likely, however. We didn't think it's likely anyone would catch up to how well L.A. had been playing and how far they had really come. So, you know, it's very interesting, you know, what's happened there and moves that some of these teams made at the deadline. and leading up to the deadline, we saw a good bit of, activity from these Pacific Division teams, filling in some needs. Roman Polak going over to San Jose is before the deadline, so we talked a little bit about that last time. But, you get a big defensive defenseman there, and then Nick Spaulding up front, will add a little bit of, depth to the bottom six there. So, we'll talk about that and what's going on there. And, Mikkel Bottker was always a fan favorite, obviously, and it's, unfortunate, when you lose a guy, when you move on, well, he's been here, since his draft year, of course, in 2008. And he struggled this year, though. I mean, look, at the last 25 games or so as a Coyote, one goal, something along those lines. So obviously that was tough. Free agent to be, you don't get a contract done, you got to protect your assets, and they did that, and they got some nice assets back. Of course, Alex Tanguay, near the end of his career, free agent to be as well, and maybe will retire. But, you get a little veteran presence in there, but mainly taking on the contract. But the youngsters, coming over, and so, we'll look into all that here in just a little bit, and what else is going on around the league, and some of the games that are later today going up. But we'll take a quick break right now, and when we come back, we will look around the National Hockey League and see what's going on, and I'll even update everyone here from Peoria Sports Complex from the sport called baseball, as already someone is on the board early on. So exciting stuff right now going on in 90-degree March, Phoenix, Arizona. This is Real Hockey Talk on NBC Sports AM 1060. We'll be right back.
The Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Suns, Coyotes, ASU, U of A, GCU, NAU. Sports talk devoted to your teams with 12 straight hours of live local shows. Weekdays 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060.
And welcome back to Real Hockey Talk right here on NBC Sports AM 1060. Greg and Dave has arrived. People were stopping him up there. They thought he was local B movie star Ron Jeremy. They kind of have a nice resemblance to each other there. And so, of course, Peoria Sports Complex, the Mariners, and Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim going at it, talking baseball on a hockey show. 3-0 Mariners there, a quick early lead, so good stuff.
Already?
Yeah.
Boy, this is packed, and no wonder I was bouncing around like a ping pong ball trying to find.
You were everywhere, yeah.
I probably passed you. I was probably 5 feet from you.
You were, but we were on. And
you should have threw a water bottle.
I didn't see you. I just saw the mob around. They thought you were someone else. But that's the situation. Before you got here, Dave, we were just a brief rundown, the trade deadline, of course, from last week. We haven't been on since. So, we'll talk about the Mikkel Bottker move, our thoughts on some of the other moves that went on around the National Hockey League, and, who's improved themselves the most. And, some guys already making impacts with their teams. And so it's fun time of year in general when you have the, Stanley Cup playoffs about a month or so away. And then the situation of spring training going on. You got your 90-degree weather here in Phoenix in March. And you know what? It's supposed to get pretty cool coming up next week. So, maybe that's why everyone gets sick here. I think they said Arizona has the highest flu rate right now.
Oh, I know. I know so many people got the flu. But it is nice weather with a little cloud covering over Peoria Sports Complex, and I'm sure over most of Arizona, or most of Phoenix, I should say.
Yeah.
And, it's, they really draw people here.
Oh, they do. Spring training is great, and obviously, all the Washington and California license plates in the parking lot, and we'll work with Dave on making sure he lets me know when he's going to take his headset off.
I know the glare is glaring, actually.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. So great stuff going on, and like you said earlier, hockey fans, get out there. Spring training, even if you're not into baseball, it's just a lot of fun. the atmosphere, and even if you're just kind of walking around the field, it's pretty cool going on. So, we'll get into all that. And Dave, I had mentioned the big Pacific Division battle that's going to be taking place here this afternoon, at Staples Center, the freeway face-off. What a huge game that is. First place really is on the line right now. So amazing how that's turned out. Some other games going on. Minnesota is trailing 2-1 right now at Buffalo. They're almost done there, about 6 minutes left in the third. Then you have Calgary and Pittsburgh all evened up at 1 early on in that game. Colorado right now in a little lead over Nashville at 1-0. So, Colorado looking to get in there, in a wild card spot, and it's a good hockey club. So, we'll see how everything kind of turns out for them. And so, that wild card race could be interesting. But this season ended today. We'd have 5 Central Division teams, 3 Pacific, as expected. Central Division's a far greater division. The Pacific Division is top-heavy. I mean, when you look at things, the California teams are talented, good hockey clubs. But the Central not only has the top-heavy teams, they have that depth in there. Where, Winnipeg's had a tough year, but really everyone else, could be in contention and are good teams. Nashville's playing great hockey, 7-0-4 in their last 11, so they're really moving up the ladder. And, Minnesota's sort of had a disappointing season, so we'll see how all that works out for them.
Yeah, and, of course, you may or may not have talked about Arizona. Lost 7 in a row.
Yeah, we're going to get into the Coyotes a little later on in the show. And, of course, all the activity that had been going on. And it'll be interesting, with the draft lottery, how everything works. Maybe there'll be some luck on their side this year. And, with the draft lottery changing up a bit, it's maybe more possibility for the teams that don't even fall in the bottom 10. Maybe those last 4 that miss the playoff spot to maybe have an opportunity to move up.
And there's going to be a new joke out. We probably will be the founders of this new joke, meaning you went to a baseball game and a hockey show broke out.
That's what happens now.
But it is nice
that's
here.
What we're bringing. Yeah.
You got to admit, this is a pretty cool place. With, pretty much a packed crowd. There's some seats over there, it looks like, to the west.
We'll bring the hockey flavor into it. Down right across the street, you have AZ Ice Peoria.
That's right.
And so a lot of good youth hockey that's always going on there at both the AZ Ice rinks across the valley.
Now, I'll protect you. If someone hits a ball down the right field line, I will catch it for you.
That's probably not happening.
Yeah, but it could. I mean, really, we're not that far for one of the power hitters to hit the table we are at. But
yes.
Anyway, this is Real Hockey Talk on NBC Sports Radio, and we'll be right back after this break.
Sports fans on the Rooster.
Looking for something different during your drive home? Lock your radio to Rockin' the News. Weekdays
right
3 to 6 on NBC Sports Radio, AM
1060.
1060. Phoenix.
And welcome back to Real Hockey Talk right here on NBC Sports AM 1060. And, of course, broadcasting from the Peoria Sports Complex, talking hockey at a spring training baseball game. But you know what? It's a great atmosphere out here, Greg and Dave. We're by the all-you-can-eat area, so we smell all the good food.
Are we allowed to
eat? Some popcorn. You're a fan of good food, so it's up to you.
I know. I'm looking behind me. All you can eat. What do they even have here? It looks like hot dogs and nachos.
Yeah, hot dogs, popcorn. There's some drinks, lemonade. I'm sure there's soda. I'm not a soda guy.
Oh, I see a hamburger.
There's a hamburger. Yeah, looks like he's bringing it back. He's bringing it over to you.
Yeah. I paid him.
There you go.
Beautiful setting, though. This is a cool place to do a remote broadcast. A lot of sports fans, of course, a lot of baseball fans.
A lot of folks from out of state, and you're in the parking lot. A lot of the Mariners fans driving in from Washington, and, of course, the Angels fans from Southern California, where we have the big game going on today between the Ducks and Kings. But, the playoff chase, we're in that zone right now. You're under 20 games left in the season. You're past the trade deadline. I mean, this is a huge time. I mean, every game is important. Every point is huge. But right now, especially so. I mean, the team's out of it. They got to make up their ground. But talk about, in Florida, you had the Florida Panthers just having a terrific season. The Tampa Bay Lightning, who, of course, won the Eastern Conference last year before falling to the Hawks in the final in 6 games. You have that situation now where the Lightning have got red hot. They finally have turned their game on the last couple months, and they've caught Florida. So they're both tied in first place right now. Sort of a similar situation with what we see in the Pacific Division. The Boston Bruins are holding on right now to that 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division with 78 points. Now, they've played 65 games. The Red Wings are right behind them, have a game in hand. But, it's interesting. The Bruins, I thought their offseason was utter terrible, and it was just awful. But they've found a way. They've done very well. But, yeah, like I said, most of the movement they made, the Dougie Hamilton trade, everyone could still talk about, the assets they got. You would expect more. They did well in the Lucic trade, knowing that, he'd be a free agent after this year. And the young pieces and, first-round pick they got. And then, of course, when they moved Martin Jones to get another first-rounder, some questions on some of their draft picks. But in general, it just seemed like, do the Bruins have it? But they've had a very successful season. And so we'll see, Detroit, will they keep that playoff streak alive? Right now, yes, they are in the first wild card spot. And it's going to be close because, no other team in the Atlantic Division will have a shot at a wild card spot or anything right now. Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, Toronto, just too far back. None of those teams are good enough. But looking at the great Washington Capitals and the Metro, the Rangers playing well, and the Islanders right now in the 3rd spot, the Penguins in 4th, and they have the 2nd wild card spot. So if the season ended today, the Washington Capitals would do battle with the Pittsburgh Penguins. How about that, Dave?
Well, I think
Ovechkin, Crosby, Malkin.
I'll take Washington definitely.
I would too.
But it's an exciting thing for the fans because, there's always that natural built-in psychological rivalry when Crosby and Ovechkin get together. They want to prove who's the king of the hill. Well, certainly Ovechkin has proven this year he's the king of the hill.
Exactly, but, the Caps have not won a Stanley Cup. They're in that situation now. Ovechkin has tons of surrounding good talent around him and leadership, bringing in a Justin Williams type. So now that playoff experience, it's there and it's time. They got, probably the best goaltender in hockey this season in Braden Holtby. So, we'll see how that all works out. But good things. But that would be fantastic if those teams met. It's interesting, though. The Philadelphia Flyers, now, 69 points on the year. You say, well, they're only 2 ahead of Ottawa. You said Ottawa has no chance. Well, Ottawa's also played 65 games. The Flyers potentially, with only playing 63 games, Pittsburgh's also only played 63, though. But so same amount of games, but only 5 points behind. So, we'll check to see if these teams still have some battles together this year. So maybe the Flyers kind of surprise, maybe sneak in. Doubtful, but you never know. But I think the way we see it right now in the East, I think is how we'll see it. I think that in terms of at least the teams in playoff spots, maybe Pittsburgh catches the Islanders. Maybe, Detroit catches Boston in the sense where, Boston would just get a wild card spot instead of the top 3 in the division. In Florida and Tampa Bay, they could be going at it for first place. But, how about that? Hockey in Florida, we've seen how great it's been with the Lightning. And, the Panthers have had, obviously, the attendance issues. But right now, you got to get out there if you're there on the East Coast.
Well, speaking of Florida, I don't know if you mentioned it before I got here, but guess who just tied Gordie Howe for the 3rd most points in the league?
And see, the thing with Mr. Yager is that
incredible, really.
The fact that he still, at his age, is playing at that level and
leads the league. Leads the team in points.
Yeah, he's just fantastic here. The leadership we always talk about. But it's not just a guy that, you see, an older player, he could still produce a bit. It's not that. He's still one of the, a legit top 6 forward.
And the inspiration he gives to the younger, teammates is phenomenal. 1,850, his 1,850th point, 1,611th league game for him. I mean, a share with Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, it's remarkable. I mean, it is that good. If you don't know hockey, this is an incredible accomplishment.
Well, Jágr is just, like I say, he came into the league, he was drafted, I was in kindergarten. I mean, I have a 5-year-old son. It's amazing that, he's still in the league right now and doing what he could do. I'm 30 years old. It's 25 years. I don't feel 30, though. I feel...
You look a little older, actually.
Oh, gosh. And I...
No wonder you don't feel 30.
Well, what's weird about me, I guess? Well, a lot of things.
I know a lot, but we don't want to disclose it on the air in front of all the people at the Peoria Sports Complex.
But what it is that when I shave, I look so different that people won't recognize me.
You do look like a baby. I agree.
Thank you. No, but not just saying look younger, but I've been in a situation, and I forgot who it was or what it was, but I ran into someone the other day, and, who we see around quite a bit, and they didn't recognize me at first. That's what I was talking about. And then they're like, oh, that's you. Because when my beard goes, I look weird. I mean, I look weird either way.
You look older. You look tougher. You look like Donald Trump.
Oh, gosh, that's
scary.
Well, I
mean, you're tough like him. And
he's tough?
Well, he says he's tough. But guess what?
What?
Entering, I believe Florida plays Coyotes tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And Jágr needs how many points to catch Mark Messier for second place on the point list?
That's a great question.
I know the answer. Do you know?
I don't.
37 points. That's it.
Yeah.
No, really, think about that.
And he'll play again next year. I mean, I don't see the retirement or anything coming up. And, he's still a guy. I think if he wanted to keep going, I mean, let's say he goes 3-4 more years, I think even at 47 or 48, you could see Jágr be a guy that could still produce, 35 and 40 points in a season, get his 15 goals, 25 assists.
I think he has 41 this year.
Right. Yeah, but he could kind of keep up and stabilize that, and it's unbelievable.
As great as Mark Messier was, I mean, look at this. We're talking about really greats in the history of hockey, and so he just needs to average about 2 points per game. I know that's not easy over the final 18 regular season games to catch Messier, but, stranger things have happened. I'm not sure that will happen, 2 points a game. He's certainly not averaging it this year, but still.
No one is. Yeah, he's obviously not this year, but no, like you said, Dave, it is just, it's Jágr. It's unbelievable. You think of, you go back, before he moved on to Washington, before the Penguins made that ridiculous trade. Understandable maybe in the circumstances you had to move him, but obviously, they got nothing back. With prospects, you never know what could happen. And, they didn't develop properly there in Pittsburgh. But I remember just all the excitement of when there were some rumblings back in the 90s. That's before, I think, internet stuff and message boards and fan forums. Obviously, well before Twitter and things along those lines. You had that situation where the rumblings around the local ice rinks, hey, Jágr might be available. And, you would hear a lot about maybe New York or going out to California with the Kings, something like that. And then, of course, ended up a little down the line going Washington in that trade. But, I mean, he is just, there's so much excitement with Jágr. I mean, just think, he was around in the clutch and grab era. He's around, obviously, now. His size, I mean, this guy, the power that he provides in his lower body, and perhaps everywhere in his lower body, because I did hear earlier this year there were some rumblings maybe of a girlfriend of a young teammate that he knew in Russia. So good for Jágr. He still gets his things done. Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully there was no cheating stuff involved, but looking at it from that, I mean, his power everywhere is good. But just amazing what he's able to.
That might go in the record books too. I don't know.
I
doubt it.
I was almost, even though I do like that Florida's having a good year, and you kind of root for a team like that. I was really hoping that they'd have kind of a down year for the fact that then maybe they would consider moving Jágr before the trade deadline. Because I mean, I love teams that I like, another contender again, but Florida's being the contender they are, obviously, holding on to him because of what he's been able to do, and, you know, a team that's going to very likely make the playoffs this year. So Florida's a contender in their own right now, and that's going to be just a lot of fun to watch him in the playoffs. I mean, we saw, you know, a few years back, was that when he went to Boston? Yeah, he did well, but not in the playoffs. It didn't work out well. But right now, I mean, it's just going to be great stuff.
Now, we talked about second place, you know, Mark Messier, all-time second amount of points in NHL history. And, of course, you know who number one is. The question is how many points does he have?
Does Mark Messier have?
No, there's the number one point
Mr. Gretzky. Oh, man, I'm not thinking right now. I don't know.
It's, you know, Messier had 1,887.
Gretzky still has more assists than anyone else has points, correct? Yeah.
I believe so. But it's going to be, he would have to go probably to 60 years old to catch Gretzky. Gretzky, 2,857 points in 1,487 games. I mean, that, I don't know who's going to ever, no one's going to catch that. I can't see it.
No one will. It's not going to happen. That is safe forever.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Different eras, but yeah, I mean, Wayne just had just that knack for the game. You know, he's 160 pounds. He can lift them up with one finger. But you know, not the greatest skater or anything, but just his mind and the hockey sense. And
incredible hockey sense. And he sees the ice so beautifully, almost like surround sound, 360 degrees. The guy knows where the puck's going to be. He's phenomenal. Yeah,
and what you say is, you know, for good players, good hockey sense, you want to, you know, be one step ahead. You know, one play ahead where you kind of know, okay, this is where, you know, I'm going to be. He actually had it in his head 2 steps ahead, basically. You know, he would be an expert chess player. That's probably Dave's sport. And but no, it's just amazing. And so, yeah, no one will catch any of those records, but from the standpoint of power, some of these guys that we're seeing, you know, with Jágr and staying in great shape nowadays, all these players that, you know, with all the fitness opportunities that they have, with all the advances in technology. And so, you know, hopefully we see some of these guys, you know, still decide to play into their late 30s, early 40s, and still be productive players like Jágr is.
Don't.
Yeah, well, he's having one of his better years in a number of years.
It's got to be disappointing, again, not making the playoffs. You got to feel for him for that. But he's had a very nice year, and good credit to him. He keeps in shape. Boy, he hasn't lost. You know, a lot of people say, oh, this guy hasn't lost a step. I say Shane Doan hasn't lost a muscle. I mean, that guy's powerful still.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, I'm always surprised. Now, not only that, Jágr is 57 goals from 800. And that's, of course, 800 is important because Gordie Howe had 801 goals. So he's only 58 from equaling Gordie Howe in goals.
And if he plays 3 or 4 more years and he is healthy during those years,
he could do it.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think that's incredible. And also, he's 28 assists, and this guy, one of the best offensive defensemen you'd ever find. Jágr's only 28 assists from tying who?
Was it Bobby Orr?
Paul Coffey.
Okay, Paul Coffey.
With 1,100, let's see, I think it's 55 assists, and that's 5th. And he's also 4 power play goals from tying our friend Keith Tkachuk for 12th on the list. So this guy has records like nice records.
Oh, Jágr's amazing.
Or positions, I should say, everywhere across the board. And he's just tremendous. Jágr's also the league all-time leader with 133 game-winning goals. Phil Esposito is second with 118. So he broke that record pretty nicely at 133 versus 118.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just, you know, and when you have game-winning goals like that, to me, that's, you know, Jerry West in the old days, Laker, they called him Mr. Clutch. I mean, this is a guy that you want on your team when it's at the end of the game and tied or close. Or
Oh, man. Yeah, Jágr, I really wish the best for the Florida Panthers this year in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Except against your team, right?
Yeah, but they're in the Western Conference, so that would only be one possibility. But no, the Panthers, it's just great to see, and the young guys, him and Willie Mitchell, their leadership has been able to do. And Dave Bolin was brought in as well, but especially with Yager and Willie Mitchell. Willie Mitchell, I always say, people know him and know he's an outstanding defensive defenseman, but one of the most underrated, of the last 10 to 12 years. I mean, because it's little things. Coaches see it, and the hardcore hockey fans, it's just a little thing where your stick is in that proper position defensively, and it's just things that are amazing, and that's why he's a guy that's had a lot of success, been a part of some cup teams, not just because of him, but he plays a role. I mean, you need guys like that, and it'd be fun to see how Florida does. But what he's been able to do help Aaron Ekblad. Oh, man.
Now I'm not off my Yager kick yet, because I did say he had 41 points. He actually has 48 points, 21 goals and 21 assists in 61 games.
Yeah.
But he also, this is what's impressive down the stretch run, when old guys are supposed to get tired. He's an old guy in a young body, evidently, because he has 4 goals and 4 assists in the past 7 games. And that, consistency, you got to love that. And that is a really nice leadership quality to show the rest of his teammates he's going to lead the way and really enter the playoffs strong.
Yeah, no,
you got to love that. I love it.
It's fantastic. The thing is, as we talked about with Shane Doan, his great workout regime. Same with Yager, and Yager's a guy, I mean, after games he's going on the ice and shooting pucks. I mean, everyone loves the game. I mean, you would hope they would still, that's why they get to the NHL, and you hope they keep that passion. But with him, I mean, it's life, and, and he continues to just play the greatest game on earth, and one of the greatest players of our time, really, when you look at everything. I mean, not just with stats, but just what he's been able to do, accomplishments, the fact that a great ambassador of the game, how at his age, what he's, the shape he's in, and it just helps because younger guys see how much fun he's having, and they want to be in that type of situation as well. So hopefully we see more of that.
It's a good lesson, not just in the game of hockey, any industry, to emulate a guy like Yager, because, I'm reading a little bit about him on off days. They say when we give the players a day off, Yager shrugs his shoulders and goes on the ice. So, in other words, that's a quote from his coach. And, it's just a credit to him that he doesn't view it as a job. He views it as a passion. And if more people viewed their own jobs that way, no matter what they're doing, as a passion and played it well and really did that extra credit, that extra effort like Yager, anyone could be sort of a superstar in their own field.
Right. No, absolutely.
Attitude is so big, right?
Yes. No, it is. And so great to see that from him. And, guys like that, I mean, these guys with the power in their legs, as we've seen, I mean, that's what's huge. You need that lower body core with hockey. Another guy that was like, unfortunately, he battled a lot of injuries, but, Peter Forsberg, I still think, if he didn't battle injuries, was, stayed healthy, obviously would have been on the ice more, but, I mean, the vision that he had and the strength and, the ability, I mean, similar in a way to Yager, he's just, Forsberg was a center iceman, Yager a winger, and, but just, again, these powerful guys, and now we see that with these, players, not just the power forward wingers, things like that, but these big center icemen that we're seeing, Getzlaf, Kopitar, guys like that. For many years, Joe Thornton. And look at Joe Thornton. He's still, and, again, much different player than those guys.
Oh, yeah.
But still, he's staying in good shape. And, even in his late 30s, he's had a phenomenal year there with San Jose. He's still a guy that's a legit number 1 center at his age, and it's just amazing.
It is amazing. Now, we're talking about longevity, right? We can't forget Milt Schmidt.
Yeah, Milt
Schmidt.
Who
is Milt Schmidt?
Yeah, Milt Schmidt.
He's not named after the Patty Schmidt. I mean, the Patty Milt. But Milt Schmidt. And
Dave laughs at his own jokes.
He's celebrating his 98th birthday today. Yeah. And he was quite a hockey player back in the 40s and 50s. So
That was Dave's time.
I don't remember that time, but you got to give credit. And he watches his favorite team, of course, Boston Bruins, and it's that love affair for hockey. He says that keeps him at 98 years young.
That's great.
So that's sort of cool when you read stuff like this. That hockey.
Oh yeah, with during the Stadium Series game there in Minnesota. Maybe let's say you have the gentleman who's still playing adult hockey there.
Oh,
in his 90s as well.
Is that right?
JR, yeah. And he was fantastic. Doesn't look anywhere near his age. He's walking up and down, the upper level there at the game, and but yeah, they show little clips of him still on the ice, and it looks good.
Well,
great mustache.
Milt Schmidt's claim to fame is not only was he a really good hockey player in his day, but he became the oldest living former NHL player when Elmer Lack, a 3-time Stanley Cup winner with the Montreal Canadiens, died April 4th, 2015, last year. Yeah. Lack was 42 days older than Schmidt. So now Schmidt is the oldest living former NHL player at 98 years young. You gotta love that. I mean, he watches all the Bruin games. He doesn't like to miss a game, and he goes live still. It's not just, he goes to the games quite often.
The passion.
Well, passion is so critical.
Mm-hmm. And with the longevity, I brought that up with Thornton. With some of the other guys, so just showing how, the power, in the lower body, how huge that is. And these guys, you can't knock off the puck. And, Forsberg and Jágr were guys like that. Jágr still is. And, seeing all these other guys now, of course, with Strome coming up with the Coyotes here in the next couple of years, he's a big guy. And, of course, he's, him being a center iceman, with that size and, you get that power down there. I mean, you're tough to knock off the puck, and that's huge because you want that puck possession to control play, and these guys all have that ability.
They do. JR, I remember, of course, Jeremy Roenick. I saw him in person once. I was.
Did you just say?
I know. Roni. I call him Roni. Like Ron Howard, we call him Ronnie. But anyway, he was in front of me at the movies once in Phoenix, at one of the Harkins theaters.
What was he saying?
I don't know what he was saying, but he was very nice. He said hi. I said hi. And his legs were like tree trunks. I'm not kidding you.
Absolutely.
That guy, I mean, his legs, I couldn't believe how big, how powerful, how strong.
And that's why he wasn't the biggest guy, but that's also one reason why when he was in his prime and earlier in his career, he was a very effective hitter. Those open ice hits, and because that power comes from the lower body.
Fearless, too, you'd call him. Remember when he played with his jaw broken? Oh, my gosh.
Darian Hatcher.
Yeah, and Keith Tkachuk, next time out, fought Hatcher and, trying to make a message. But, hey, JR didn't care. He said, hey, it's a hit, it's a hit. He never complained really about it. And you got to love that.
Yeah.
So, but a little bit more, 80 years ago. Is when Schmidt first started in the league.
And Kevin Dave was at the first game.
80 years ago, at 18
years
old, he joined the Providence Reds. Do you know who they were? The Bruins affiliate in the old International American Hockey League.
Absolutely.
Promoted to the Boston Bruins halfway through the season and had really, really good years ahead of him. You got to love that. He was known for his toughness, playmaking ability, 16-year NHL career, Stanley Cup championship in 38-39 and 40-41, league scoring championship in 39 and 4. Let's see, I think it was through 40, 50 and 51, the Hart Trophy, Hockey Hall of Fame in 1961. And he's still alive, 98. We really love that.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a cool deal, So it's nice to think of all the old greats.
Dave wishes he was one. He has part of it. He has the old.
Yeah, but not the great.
No, at least not in hockey.
No.
So he would been kind of nice.
He was.
We'll see Jágr at like age, he'll be 105, and he'll still be playing in his adult leagues, dominating and all that stuff. But, Jágr, I mean, so much great he's been through. And the mullet he had, just a lot of fun. A lot of fun, that thing. I have a hockey book from like the 91-92 season, and I was like 6-7 years old, and I just stare at his picture and say, what is that?
The mullet?
What's on his head? Yeah.
I love that. Billy Ray Cyrus had one of those, too. Look how his daughter turned out. Ooh, that was a shot.
Yeah.
What's her name? Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what happened to her. I don't know.
She's
sort of went.
She's okay.
Sort of, but not quite the way Billy Ray wanted to.
I have no idea.
But good news on the light side of hockey, because I know we're going to have to take a break in a second. But one of the Dallas Stars cheerleaders accepted a marriach proposal during. Oh, you saw that game?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's sort of cool to do that, right? We met someone that actually did that, right? At one of people we was on our radio show.
Oh, yes.
Right there at the Coyotes game, they pre-planned it. She said yes, luckily for the guy, because it'd be a little embarrassing.
Well, you always say yes, and then afterwards that answer
could
change.
Then break up, or you get divorced 5 years later. This is how America rolls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hopefully not. We're trying to heal this.
No, it's a 3-year window for divorce.
Yeah. And well, I guess it could be.
Yeah, because the honeymoon stage, that ends before you get married. But then once you get married again, it's already over. But then you stay with them because it'll be expensive to get a divorce. And and then you get to year 3 and you say whatever, I'll go bankrupt.
I just met someone that got married and then got divorced and married the same person again.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I guess that happens.
And I just saw the announcement they're having a divorce party, their second divorce.
Oh, the second annual divorce party with the same woman.
A lot of fun.
I like that. All right, and this is Real Hockey Talk on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS. We're live at the Peoria Sports Complex watching the game. We'll be right back.
All right, we're clear. All right, you are live.
And welcome back to Real Hockey Talk right here on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 in Phoenix. Of course, at Peoria Sports Complex. I guess not in Phoenix today, but 3-2 now. The Mariners and the Angels in this spring training game that we're talking hockey at. So, a lot of fun. My two favorite sports, I guess, so that's good. But Greg and Dave here, we smelled the delicious food out by the all-you-can-eat deck. And, again, get out to all the spring training facilities. I mean, here in Peoria, it's beautiful. There's a lot of good restaurants around here before or after the game. But, you get your all-you-can-eat pavilion up here. That's always good. So a lot of fun, and to stick with the hockey flavor, get the kids signed up at AZ Ice Peoria, and it's just down the street from here. If you're in the West Valley, and you're in the East Valley, you got AZ Ice Gilbert, and so a lot of good opportunities, around. To go to a spring training game and go to an ice rink, because you got your ice rinks everywhere out here now. It's great how everything's bloomed in the last 5 to 10 years.
Really? Oh, where did I go? Here I am. Anyway, it is beautiful. It's really the perfect day, I think, for being outside. The cloud cover is nice. I don't know, it feels maybe 70, 75 perhaps at tops. Probably a little cooler than that. But
it might be. I just, I always feel hotter because I'm a hairy
type of guy. And anyway, it's a nice crowd here. Not necessarily a sellout, but close to a sellout, and it's a great way to enjoy a Saturday, Sunday, or during the week, of course.
The Cubs and Reds, sold out their game earlier or today, and so just amazing. It's not just local folks out here, but everyone that is coming out to support their teams that maybe is not at the game now and listening. Definitely check it out. And so, you have the situation, Dave, as we were talking about Yager quite a bit, and, wanted to bring up, looking at the playoff positioning in the Western Conference. So we talked Pacific Division. There'll be the three teams, the Kings, Ducks, Sharks, possibly not in that order, but those three will make the playoffs. Vancouver and the Coyotes 16 points back of San Jose, not happening. Now, both the wild card spots will come out of the Central, but who will get these spots? Nashville, very likely. They've been playing great hockey, 76 points. But will it be Minnesota or Colorado for that second spot? They're both tied with 70 points. Minnesota has played one less game, 65 points. There's a shirtless man coming this way. And,
why would you notice that? That is my only question.
No, it looks like, have you seen the movie Ted?
Ted, the little teddy bear?
Yeah, adorable teddy bear. Very family-friendly teddy bear, Ted.
I've seen him.
Voiced by the great Seth MacFarlane.
He's posing in front of us now. What's going on there?
Yeah, I thought you were wrong.
He looks like, what's his name, the wrestler, the Hulk?
No, he looks like, oh man, what in Ted, the Flash Gordon guy.
Oh yeah, he does look like that with gray hair, a lot of hair.
Absolutely. Now I'm expecting to see like Ted and Mark Wahlberg behind him. That would be great.
Wow, there's a little.
Now this guy owns this place. I mean, the way he's walking around there. I mean, he's looking for some action.
Oh wow,
he's getting himself a drink. There you go. Good for him. And so. Yeah, so you have that. But, no, the Wild and Avalanche, it's going to be a fun race for these clubs to see who could get that second wild card spot. Wild have played one less game, as we said, so that's why Minnesota is in that position where if the thing ended today, of course, they're ahead based on that. But, we'll see how that shapes up. I mean, Colorado, with Bottker there, how will everything work? You got that talent, that speed. Minnesota has a nice mix of veterans and youngsters as well. Defensively, you got to like a lot of what they have. And so I'm excited to kind of see how that works out. But everyone else in the West, again, positioning may change. And I do want to clarify one thing. Because, I mentioned earlier, it's likely, whether it's Chicago or Dallas or St. Louis, who everyone's the Central would probably have the most amount of points in the West, so they would play the second wild card team. But I don't want to talk too quickly because the Ducks and Kings both have 80 points, 5 points behind Dallas and Chicago. They actually have 3 games in hand. So if one of those teams ran the board in their 3 games in hand, they'd actually have more points than the great teams in the Central, perhaps. So. I maybe spoke a little too quickly there, and plus with what we've seen with the Ducks, you never know. They might not lose a game again.
They're playing great. But can I get my prediction between Minnesota and Colorado? I believe that Minnesota will take the last playoff spot. I think Colorado certainly has had a pretty good season, no question, compared to last year.
Yeah.
But Minnesota had their slump. I think they're over it. I think they're 7-3 in their last 10. They're winners, I believe, of 4 in a row, actually.
They did lose this afternoon in a shootout.
So they
got a point. Yeah.
But I'm going to say Minnesota, I think they're done with their, everyone goes through a slump. I think it'll be down to the wire, could be the last game. But I will predict that at this point. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Minnesota, again, a team that you'd expect to make the playoffs. In Colorado, you always know they have that skill, these young players, and but they've had a nice year, and they're right in the thick of things. They're doing battle with Nashville today, and they are up 1-0 in the second.
Ooh, is it in Colorado?
In Colorado, so we'll see. That's a huge game now. Nashville has been one of the hottest teams in hockey, behind the Ducks there. And so, Nashville, if they keep that up. But Nashville's, they'll be in the playoffs. Like I said, the teams in the 8 playoff positions right now in the Western Conference, these are the teams that are going to make it. Different orders, sure, but are very possible. They'll be the 8 teams. So not as much drama in that sense. And, again, in the East, it also, looks pretty much similar where the 8 teams right now, with the 3 in each division and the 2 wild cards. That also looks, again, that's a little closer because you have Philly, New Jersey, Carolina, Ottawa, still technically you could say in that, Montreal, but Montreal's just awful.
Corey Schneider went out, I think, the other day with an injury. I don't know how long he'll be out, though.
Yeah.
But without Corey Schneider, that's...
Well, that would do New Jersey in,
Yeah, it's a tough one.
And so, again, likely it will stay the same, but, you're at that situation where with these teams, the drama's a little less, but there's still the great parity in the league, and what we're seeing with the Central Division is just phenomenal when, you have Colorado who's, in 6th place in the division, have 70 points. If you go to most other divisions, you're much higher up the ladder in most cases. So, it's like a bloodbath when all these teams meet.
Yeah, but you're right. In the East, you got to figure Pittsburgh and Detroit will probably be the last 2. I don't think Philly can quite. And so, in fact, they have, 2 games in hand, I think, on Pittsburgh, it appears. No, I guess it's even, actually.
Yeah.
The glare on my computer. But But nevertheless, it's good for Philly to try to remain in there. They're going to try as hard as they can. But
no, they are not going to try.
Yes, they are. I know the Flyers.
They've decided to give up on the season.
They want to beat out Edmonton for the number one. Although I think Edmonton is not in last anymore. Looks like Calgary's really taken a dive.
Yeah, they have.
Ooh,
but
nice.
Here's the thing, though. Calgary has 3 games in hand, so
you never know.
Yeah, they'll probably catch the Oilers, and Winnipeg's down there as well, and Toronto is only 52 points.
Oh yeah. So,
but again, with the lottery, you finish last doesn't mean you're getting it.
I'm betting on Edmonton.
Yeah, they're going to get it no matter what.
Amazing,
yeah.
Actually. And it's one of those situations, Arizona, more than likely is not going to finish, the bottom. So they'll have a good pick, but maybe not a great pick. It just depends, right?
It does. Well, with the lottery, you just never know. And there's still plenty of time because, with their big struggle, the teams that were way below them earlier aren't that far below them now. So they keep struggling, but... you don't want to get into a losing atmosphere. They have a lot of good assets right now.
That's right.
Look at the situation, though. Again, you don't have to finish in last. You could still win the lottery and draft first overall. But even if not, they'll be in a position to add another fantastic prospect in the first round. And, asset value is key, and then with the other picks, you got to use it wisely. And they've done much better. In terms of these value picks and picking up guys, that aren't in the first round, like a Christian Dvorak, guys like that, and so it's been fantastic.
Now here's the time of the show where we look at who moved up the most positions and who moved down. So we always get you on this one, Greg.
Yeah.
Who moved up the most positions from last week?
Oh boy. Dun, 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 dun. Who did? It was none other.
They're playing well. I'll give you a hint.
Nashville.
They weren't in the playoff position, I don't think, last week. And
Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota moved up 4 spots
wow.
and playing well.
Yeah.
Now, Colorado also, they moved down 1 spot. But who moved?
They're fired.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But who moved down the most? This is a little surprising, perhaps, but maybe not.
Well, I'm taking it wasn't a team that's a really bad team. Maybe someone in the middle, perhaps?
No, not in the middle. But they moved down 4 spots.
Calgary?
No, not Calgary.
I don't know.
Florida.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So it makes some sense. And
I hope they pick it up.
Yeah. Anaheim, they moved up so much. I think 7 spots last time.
Yeah.
They move up another 2 spots. They are, wow. And you said they're playing the Kings today.
They just started right now.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow. I hope they put it on the big screen here at Peoria Sports Complex during the baseball
game. Hey, the Angels
are
here, and there's a L.A. team in the house. So, get it going.
Yeah, Anaheim. It's funny. I read an article just over a month ago. I mean, halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And they had all these advanced stats, the Corsi stats and the high percentage stat. There's other stats now, high percentage against your opponent. And so they added a few of those stats, and they thought those were the 2 probably most telling stats to predict playoffs. Mm-hmm. And you know what they said?
What did they say?
It's funny because it's like January, 16th or 26th, not that long ago.
Yeah.
They go based on the stats as of that day in January, just a little over a month ago.
Yeah.
They thought the Coyotes would beat out Anaheim. So much for that particular advanced stat. No, it did. They said they had a slight percentage to beat them out in a playoff spot.
Well, I love advanced stats, but that's why not all of them will be telling on things because you always knew Anaheim would snap out of it,
and that wasn't even close to that one.
No, it's big time, and now they may win the division.
Yeah, it was very surprising to see that. So you got to rely on gut instinct sometime too. The advanced stats are good. Certainly, there's a trend with the Corsi, puck possession stats.
Sure,
that, some of the top teams over the last 5-6 years, who's won the Stanley Cup, they have high Corsi. L.A. continues to have high Corsi. Chicago, I think is getting better. I don't have their stat in front of me. However, they started a little bit lower, but they are a team to reckon with, no question. And so and teams peaking at the right time, so important, right?
And we're seeing that. I mean, with Anaheim and Tampa Bay. And my hope, though, is that Boston catches both the Florida teams, wins that division, so we see a first round of Tampa Bay versus the Panthers. I think that would be great.
Oh,
yeah,
well, that's good
have
for
both
hockey.
The Florida teams, and but maybe they would still meet in the sense where let's say Tampa wins that division, and then Florida beats Boston in the first round, and Tampa wins their series, then they can go in round 2. But that would be great. We want to see that. Interstate rivalries are a lot of fun.
Now, talking about consistency, you look at Washington. What position have they changed? 0. They continue to be number 1.
They'll never change.
Chicago went up one. Dallas went down one. So Dallas last year was number 2. Chicago now is number 2. And so, but still good consistency. St. Louis has been about the 4th spot for a long time. Rangers up 2 spots, so that's pretty good. They went above L.A.
Rangers had a big win the other night against Washington. A late goal in the 3rd, yeah.
And Chicago, I think, beat Washington.
Yeah, they did last week, yeah.
So, they got a target, on their back.
Yeah.
But, the truth is you never know in playoffs. But the consistency of Washington, I can't see them faltering. The consistency, right? I mean, some teams, sort of blow it. Well, San Jose, I didn't say that, but in the past they have. But L.A., when they were a seed, look at what they did, years ago, not that long ago. But
and we were saying this before you got here too. With that is you don't have to, be number 1 in your division and get home ice and all that stuff. Once you get the playoffs, anything could happen. But Washington, their personnel is much better in terms of being built for the playoffs now. Last year, of course, Barry Trotz was there, but now his second year as head coach, I mean, they really adapt into his system. Great defensive team. Braden Holtby's been outstanding in that this year. But then the fact that you have these guys, not just Ovechkin and Backstrom, but just a ton of guys that can score. Then you bring in Williams and TJ Oshie. Now, Oshie hasn't been a great playoff performer. We all know about Justin Williams. He'll go down in the ages, Mr. Game 7. And even bringing in Mike Richards, 4th-line center, he's actually, from all accounts, played pretty well. I mean, in his role.
And the experience never hurts.
And he's a good playoff guy. He's a guy that has won at every level. You go back to juniors, even in the American Hockey League with the Philadelphia Phantoms. And then what we saw, he's a big part of, especially the first cup in L.A., but little things he does. And, even though offensively his game isn't, where it was, it seems some of his the off-ice issues are done with. And so it's kind of clear past him and a clean slate. Playing well there, and that leadership, as you said, absolutely huge.
No doubt about it. But getting back to Washington, their goal differential, 61. No one's even close to that. I mean,
it's insane.
And so you gotta like that, of course. But they have it all, though. It's not just goal differential because they have such great scoring. They also have great defense, too. So, and defense, certainly, I believe, wins championships almost in any sport.
It does.
And so they have a plus 61. Chicago, for example, 28. Dallas in the 3rd spot, 22 goal differential. L.A. Kings, decent at 23. But no one's even close, 27 for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, no, it's amazing there what Washington has been able to do in terms of dominating, especially with all the parity in the league now. They've been so consistent there throughout the season, and so a lot of hope there in Washington. This is that year where they get their first cup, and they're on track. And so you said with defense wins championships. Sometimes your best defense is a good, strong offense in the sense where, if you have these guys that puck possession and always have it down in the opposition's defensive end, you're not going to get scored on, because you guys are all down there. And so that's a big.
NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 is KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KUPDHD2 Tempe Phoenix.
And welcome back to Real Hockey Talk right here on NBC Sports AM 1060. We're at Peoria Sports Complex talking hockey at a baseball game. How we are. But we have the Mariners and the Angels going at it right now, and I believe the score is 5-2 Seattle. So a lot of fun out here, Greg and Dave. And so we were talking about earlier with the both conferences. I mean, it's just we know who will be in the playoffs right now in the National Hockey League. Of course, seedings, things like that will change, but so that's a lot of fun there. Well, let's do a little update on what's going on, because we know LA and Anaheim have got going there at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Huge game, probably the biggest game of the year for both teams right now, with first place in the division being on the line, winning your division. It's a nice little perk, I guess, but, nothing like winning the cup. And we'll take a look and see what we have in the sense of that. Just bringing that up. But as we talked about, Colorado still winning 1-0 there against Nashville. But, yeah, L.A. and Anaheim scoreless about halfway through the first period. So, again, that may be a tight game with both teams going at it like that. But
Calgary, Pittsburgh 2-2 in the second. It's good for Pittsburgh to keep winning. The Calgary's not going anywhere.
No.
For sure. So, but, yeah, it's certainly a big game in L.A. That's probably one of the bigger games that we're going to follow at this point.
Yes.
But we met some nice people here, a group of people, right, that have, they said, 25 years as a group. They live all over the country, come here to Arizona, to Peoria and the Phoenix area, to watch spring training for 25 years.
It's unbelievable, really. I mean, it reminds me, remember the movie Fever Pitch, where Jimmy Fallon and his buddies, they always got to go out to Florida for the Red Sox, scouting for the Red Sox, although the Red Sox didn't know they were scouting for them. But no, it's nice that these guys, not just watch their teams, places they come from, but just in general, visiting all the different facilities out here. And, there's always upgrades and new things. And so we say, this area here in Peoria, it's a very nice area. We have an office, actually, right here in the parking lot. I'm looking at it right now. I'm waving to it.
And someone's waving back, and no one should be there. That's the weird
thing. Who's in our office?
But anyway, it's a cool place, live from the Peoria Sports Complex here.
Yeah, it's great.
And nice crowd. A little cool breeze coming in right now from the south. I guess it's the southeast a bit. And we're here at the all-you-can-eat pavilion.
Yes, but we
haven't even tried it yet. Should I go and eat, and then we'll rotate?
If you want, we can do a little rotation later. But, so great stuff out here in Peoria. And then you go, the only thing I think's a little odd, they call it the P83 now, of course, with it being 83rd Avenue. But, you got all your good restaurants and stuff, or you can catch a movie there at Harkins. You have a nice small Arrowhead. So, fans from out of town that are listening in thinking, I want to visit different parks over here. Well, this is one to definitely take a look at. And then if you're not a Mariner or Padre fan, but you have a team and they're coming over here, make sure this is a place to stop by and visit when you do that. And so, the shirtless guy, I'm trying to find where he's at. And no, not for that reason, Dave. Well, that would be nice. But the sense of something else, if we had a camera, there would be a lot of agreement and applause. That would be, if she was,
hey, I
that
think
would
we
be
should
better.
Come here. Hey, Kevin, you're missing a lot of stuff here.
That's okay. I'm just be jealous back here at the studio.
Maybe we should take pictures and send them back to you, and then maybe you'll want to be here, because it is how baseball games are.
So wish you were here, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we wish you were here. You could. Well, then who would be there though?
Right, exactly.
But
autopilot.
Yeah. Now a couple things. So I don't know, Greg, if you saw this, or Kevin, if you saw this. Of course, Max Domi suspended
for
one game. I guess instigating a fight, final 5 minutes. I did not see that. Did you see it? Or Kevin, did you see that game?
No, I didn't see that, but it sounds like a lot of frustration coming from the team.
Oh, no question. I mean, Kevin, if you think about it, they actually, were playing quite well, a little above 500 for most of the year, halfway through, and they were in position. They were in and out of playoff spots, but how frustrating can it be? All of a sudden, boom, 7-game losing streak, and during the stretch run, just sort of implodes. It's got to be incredibly frustrating for everyone on the team, management, ownership, players, and especially when you were that close at one time. Now you're way out of reach.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What can you do?
Yeah, I think they're kind of trying to get the younger kids on the team to be a little bit more seasoned, if you will. Bringing in Alex Tanguay is a good pull, but might be a little bit too late. They are the Suns now. We're looking for the future and building on that.
Yeah, and that's but not probably low enough to get the top pick. But like Greg said, you never know with the new rules of the lottery. Maybe they could.
Well, yeah, I mean it's possible. If Austin Matthews was here, it'd be amazing.
Oh,
in more ways than one. Not only having a general franchise player coming in, but the fact being from here, it's be just amazing for marketing purposes. Now, the fact is, and Tanguay's a nice leader that they brought in, but the young pieces, definitely were the key to the Bachner move. And, of course, those assets are huge. And young assets are big because of this. You build up together, they build their chemistry, and, they just continue to grow and take off if developed properly. But also draft pick assets. You get to the time where, let's say the Coyotes have quick turnaround and next year they're, in playoff contention, playing very well. Come trade deadline time, there's a legitimate piece out there that could fit your team.
Yeah.
Done such a good job with, their asset management that you say, you know what, we have the ability now to trade, a pretty good prospect that we have that we like, but, we feel we have that depth in the system and other assets, we can move them for this guy that can help us right now when they're ready. And so there's a lot of things in terms of asset management and value that you look into. But, I'd say next year the Coyotes, you'll see improvements in some ways. I don't think they'll be a playoff team quite yet. unless there's just something crazy that happens in the offseason that no one's expecting. But maybe in 2 years, and then, by then, Strome would be there and have that little experience in the league, and then more and more experience for Domi, Declare, and guys like that. Dvorak would probably be in. So, things are very bright for this team on ice, and then hopefully everything, what city will they play in? Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale in the next couple of years. Hopefully all that's worked out.
Maybe all three.
Yeah, there you go.
But maybe not. But Kevin, let me ask you this. To me, psychologically, Botker was going to get traded when they couldn't make a deal. Psychologically to the team, a guy that's been around, I think the 8th pick at one point, a couple, 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
2008.
Yeah, and,
the year of the
and has improved every year, maybe a bit of a slump at times this year, but still a young, bright player that matured, was about, and maturing. How much psychologically does that affect some of the players on the team in that, he didn't want to, either he didn't want to stay there or he thought he could get a better deal somewhere else and perhaps even make be in a playoff team, which is still possible with Colorado. So, but psychologically, does that send the message to some of the young players, perhaps? What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I absolutely think it's that. I think it's everyone on the team is going, well, if it could happen to him, it could happen to me. Let's pick up our game a little bit. You would hope it has that effect on it. I just don't know what else. You move a guy like Bodker, you try to get as many prospects as you can for that one talent, but still I think it does send that message like, hey, we better pick it up or we're going to be gone too.
Yeah, and not just pick it up, but I do believe that it actually might have a slight downward psychological effect on some of the young people.
No, I don't think it does because they know in this sense, his contract's coming up. And, use common sense. It's been a tough past couple seasons for the team at the NHL level, in terms of not having playoff success. And, Bacher didn't want to re-sign right now. And, it does sound like they offered him a fair deal, but you kind of look at it in the sense of, team didn't want to get rid of him, but hey, if you're not signed, you have to get those assets back.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And they did. And, so you're in a situation where, young players know that. They're not going, they probably all love Bacher and stuff. And he's young himself. I mean, he's 26, so, getting into free agency and his supposed prime years. Now, before the trade, he only had, one goal in his last, 25, 26 games. So, he's had a down year in that regard, the inconsistency offensively. But we'll see where he'll work out. If it's with Colorado, maybe, re-sign there in the offseason. I don't think – I think just part of it is he knows, the team had been struggling. There has been uncertainty, and maybe it was time for him to move on. So he figured, I won't sign an extension right now there. And, he's not going to come back here in the offseason. It's not going to be an Anton Vermette situation. It's different. Wherever he's at, whether he stays in Colorado or wherever he goes, change of scenery for him. So, no, young guys aren't looking at that at all. I mean, they know, of course, you always want to believe, players, coaches, that your team has a shot at the Stanley Cup when you get the training camp. Yeah, as fans, media, you go, yeah, that team has no chance. But you got to believe it, or it's not going to happen. And, yeah, we do. It would be a tough year for this team. They knew that. So what they did is they helped themselves out, continue their long-term growth. It was a good move. And, Don Maloney's done a nice job. I know there was a little window there of a year or two where maybe there were some questionable things, but you got to understand his hands are tied, or had been tied more than probably anyone else in the league, with all the ownership stuff that had been going on. But, you got to give just a lot of credit for how Maloney and the scouts have really bulked up the system there. Now, they're a little weak on the back end in the pipeline. So, when you get to the draft, here's the thing. You got to draft with value the best player available. But as you get into the later rounds, or maybe they'll be in a situation where they can trade up and down and there's a fantastic defensive prospect, they need to add a little to the back end in the system. But that system's looking really good. And, possibly the top minor league system right now in terms of talent when you look at all these young forwards coming up. So there's a lot of excitement there. But, again, the young players aren't looking at it like that because they're not getting rid of him. It's a player they did want to re-sign, but it's the smart thing to do. If you didn't move him but he still didn't re-sign, then you'd look like idiots. Like, you'd look like Jim Benning there in Vancouver. Now, Dan Hamhuis, even though he said he would only accept a deal to Dallas, Chicago, or Los Angeles, they had the possibility to make a deal with Dallas. Dallas, the offer they got for Chris Russell is basically what they offered for Dan Hamhuis. Vancouver didn't act on it. So Dallas rolled back around later to offer something less, but it's still something, and they didn't do it. They didn't trade Verbata. Vancouver's not a contender, and they did not get those assets back. And just horrible asset management by the worst general manager in sport, Jim Benning. Jim Benning, we salute you for being the worst general manager in sport. So I'm sure you're a nice guy, though. We'd love to talk to you sometime about. I'd love to make a trade with you. Maybe we could do a fantasy league together or something. It is unbelievable. Now, we always don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. There's things that happen, and with Hamhuis, again. And it's not his fault. He has the right to do this with the no-trade clause, and he has a family, and it's likely he would be re-signing in Vancouver anyways. That's where he lives anyways. He wants to be there. But still, he was willing to go to some of those teams, and Dallas did swing back around. And, I know L.A. had some interest, but again, they were in a tough spot. So, I know with Jim Benning it's a little tough, but you get to that point, I think you got to take it. Now, I understand Brian Burke mentioned something. The Burke with the involved there, with Calgary. Brad Trelving made the trade, of course, with Chris Russell and some other moves, David Jones. However, Burke mentioned something interesting that a few years ago with Michael Camilleri at the deadline, he was a UFA to be, and they didn't move him. Then he, of course, went to New Jersey. But people there is asked that question on air, and I thought, that makes a lot of sense to ask him that because I was wondering at that time. And Burke had a point that did make some sense. One, they did want to re-sign him, and they thought maybe we had a chance. But two, they said we got nothing in terms of offers, just horrible offers. Now, you could say, well, why not just, even if it's a mid-4th-round pick, just take it? But he didn't want teams to think that, anytime there's a rental guy, they'll be desperate and stuff like that. So in that case, I guess you can get it with things, and but every case is different. I still, with Vancouver, it just doesn't make sense. I have no idea what they're doing there. Hopefully for Canuck fans, Jim Benning is let go after the year. And if it's not Jim Benning doing this, if it's the ownership tying his hands that we don't know about, then shame on them. I mean, they're not rebuilding. They have some good young players, but not an elite, plethora of young guys coming up. It's a situation where they are in that hole where they're not even going to make the playoffs. Your 2-star players are getting older, the Sedins, and you just don't have a lot there. And here's an opportunity. You just got to get the assets, and they didn't do that. Very disappointed. Well, if I was a Canuck fan.
So if you were the owner, he'd be gone.
If ownership. He'd be fired right away. The thing is, with ownership there, I know there's some rumblings that maybe they're tying his hands up a little. Maybe they're kind of forcing the issue. And if that's the case, he's still a bad GM. No, but it's a tough situation. So, but if it is him, he'd be gone. It's funny because before Benning got hired there, he's assistant general manager in Boston. And I really thought, hey, Jim Benning's maybe a good general manager in this league. Vancouver is really lucky. He took over for Mike Gillis, who was awful. But Benning's awful. He's even more awful.
So they went from awful to awful-er. But
awful part 2.
Yeah. Now,
2.5.
Let's see. We got a few more minutes before Breakthrough Sports. I suspect we'll be talking some baseball, but
no.
Of course we're not. We're live here at the Peoria Sports Complex. But, Los Angeles... And I'm just looking at some of these advanced stats, the Corsi for percentage, which is puck possession. LA has led all year, and they still do at 56.3. Guess who's second? And, a team that's played very well, not as good goals against, but Dallas at 53.5. So,
okay.
So they have sort of good. And then the team that did not have very good stats, but has been on fire, third in the league with Corsi for percentage, that's puck possession pretty much. Anaheim at 53.1. So you're looking at that, and then Nashville playing very well is fourth. So, like we talked about, is these advanced stats, although in the article I read back in January didn't turn out to be good prediction. Right. But if you look traditionally, puck possession's very big, goals against very big.
Yes.
In the Stanley Cup playoffs, and looks like LA. I predict is going to have a pretty good run at it. I think Anaheim's going to have a good run, but those two probably, they're going to collide at some point.
Perhaps in the second round. I mean, unless San Jose gets past one of them, but wild card team. Which, again, I mean, you can't take lightly because, let's say, the season ended today and L.A. had to play Nashville. I mean, Nashville always does pretty well against them, and Nashville's playing well. So you can't give it to them yet. But likely, if all things are equal and these teams are healthy, you would hope to see that in round 2. The 2 Southern California teams go at it again. They had a great series a few years back. Game 7 was a blowout, but before that it was a terrific series. And so you hope for that again. And these teams, they could bring the intensity when they play each other. They don't like each other on the ice, and that's how it should be in a rivalry, good but clean. And so we'll see a lot of good stuff with that. Now Nashville is trailing going into the third period 2-1 to Colorado. So last we had checked on that game. It was 1-0 Colorado, but now 2-1 Colorado. So they still have a 1-goal lead.
And a little surprising, Washington at 50.5 Corsi for percentage. Yeah. But again, that's a team, with such great goals against average. That can negate a lot of stuff. And so, but I mean, if you look at it right now, there's still some games to go. But if you look at it, I think the LA Kings are in pretty good position with some of their advanced stats. The goals against, Jonathan Click, the Corsi for percentage. I like that. And I think Anaheim also is looking pretty good. Washington because of the goals against. And so I don't know. If you had to pick 5 teams in order that would reach the Cup Finals, who would they be?
The Stanley Cup Final. Well, Chicago right now favorite out west. The favorite in the East would still be Washington.
Yep.
And that would be a great final if that happened. It would be a lot of fun. Let's see. We'll do 3 in total. The others, L.A. and Anaheim. Whoever gets past there in Pacific would have a good chance against Chicago. When I say good chance, I'm not saying they're favorites that would win the series, but, both those teams are also elite teams.
Other than Washington and the East?
Yeah. And then in the East, I think we'll be looking for with Washington, maybe the Rangers again. I mean,
I'd pick Tampa Bay.
Yeah, well, Tampa, I am. Yeah. Maybe with Hank. We'll see how Hank's doing. A little bit of an issue the other night against the Penguins, but something with the Rangers, even if the team doesn't seem maybe as talented or as good or whatever, they still have those pieces there, and there's something about them that I really like a lot. So we'll kind of have to see what happens.
Yeah. There's a handful of teams that of course, barring injuries, you just never know what will happen there. And and I think. It's going to be exciting no matter what, because even bad hockey is good hockey, but there's always good hockey during the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
I always see that, and I think that's going to be exciting. I mean, just the whole the intensity level, it steps it up a notch. Not to say teams don't try, they do. Yeah. But there's something about playoff hockey that is unmatched.
Right.
I believe by virtually any sport.
Yeah, it is. Even if you're not a hockey fan.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup playoffs are
nothing like
the greatest thing the world
so
has
we're
known.
looking forward to, Chicago. They want to be back-to-back, but L.A. and other teams are going to have something to do with that. So, I mean, if they do win it, that'd be quite an accomplishment. Let's put it that way. That is going to be fantastic. There's no doubt about that. So we're here live at the Peoria Sports Complex on a very nice day, cloud cover right now, and that way we probably won't see the chemtrails that are going on. But who knows? That's my political commentary for today. But it is a beautiful day. It's almost a full house here at the Peoria Sports Complex, and at 3 o'clock. Of course, we're going to have Breakthrough Sports, move from hockey to baseball, and we have a special guest. One of the fans will be here talking some baseball. For 25 years, he has traveled and been to Arizona and Florida and all these places, and we're going to find out what is the best stadium and also who's the best hockey show in the nation. We're going to ask him that question.
This is the best hockey show.
Yeah, there he goes. See,
I mean, come on, guys.
I
mean, I'm on the best hockey show right now. This is a bucket list achievement right here, guys.
See, then of course, this is Andrew Oppman.
That's right.
See? And we'll call him Mr. Oppman or Andrew. And from Tennessee. So he knows his hockey.
Yeah. Well, we got the National Predators. I mean, come on,
they're
right?
well.
Right? The All-Star game, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that was
terrific.
A great All-Star
what
game.
about that? That was a real All-Star game, right?
That was fantastic with John Scott and the whole controversy somewhat, and so nice. He had 2 goals and a beauty on a breakaway.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Nashville's becoming a hockey town.
It is.
Under the noses and the eyes of the whole league. We are emerging and growing into that rank. So we're really proud of the Preds. We're proud of our standing in the NHL.
And you should be. It's a fine team. It really is. They've always had good teams, defensive-minded now, a little bit different, but still fantastic.
But here you are at spring training. You're not at a hockey game.
Yeah,
guys, come on.
We're imagining that it is.
No. You got to live in the moment. The moment is this.
See,
this
the catcher's
is the moment.
a netminder over there.
You know what? You know what, Andrew? We went to a baseball game and a hockey show broke out. I mean, it's just so weird to see this.
Well, my guy over there, Tom Cribbs, is the real hockey guy there. So we're 25 years. We're 25 years into spring training baseball. It's a tradition. We got a crew that comes every year. This year we're in the Cactus League, and what a great circle of life kind of continuance of the, this is the start of a new year, all the things that are great about, spring and renewal here at baseball. That's why you guys are here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we love it. I mean, it's, sports is such a big part of the culture here, and it always will be. Mm-hmm. And so you got to love it when people from all over the nation turn out. I saw your friends doing some really strange selfies.
Well, they're doing them right now, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys are being exposed on social media that I don't want to describe or explain.
Yeah,
but we got Tennessee, Wisconsin, Texas.
Wow. From everywhere.
Georgia. Yeah. We're all over.
And it looks like, well, hold on, Andrew, because we're about to take a break, Greg. And this is Real Hockey Talk, NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, KDUS. And we got some fans out here talking to us. We're going to talk some baseball the next hour. And a special guest, yes, he's a star now, right. Andrew Ottman. He is from Tennessee, wandering around saying, pick me, and we did pick him to be on the show.
Every man could be a star with your show.
There's Flash Gordon again.
And there he is. And we'll be right back after this break.
NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 is KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KUPD HD2 Tempe Phoenix.
Again, there I am. Looks like I was faded out.
You're on the air.
Now I am on the air. And this is, of course,
in beautiful Peoria.
A beautiful Arizona. Peoria, but it's Breakthrough Sports. We just got finished with Real Hockey Talk. We're live from the Peoria Sports Complex. And we have, of course, a special guest. We were surrounded by fans. I don't know how they heard of us, but they have. And, of course, we have Andrew Ottman all the way from Tennessee here. And tell us your story, because it is a nice story where you've been coming here for 25 years.
Right.
What, alternating from Arizona to Florida and back and forth?
Right. We've been my nephew Don Thacker's with me right now, and I'll pass the mic to him in a second. But we made a commitment to come to spring training for the sense of renewal, the sense of opportunity. How can we enjoy the beginning of baseball and also the beginning of a brand new year?
Oh, good.
And you know what? We have we've lived through life, birth of children, changes in jobs, and been out here on baseball days to celebrate all of it here in this beautiful experience here at this park in Peoria, but also other parks all across the Florida Grapefruit League and the Cactus League here in Arizona.
And you told me off the air, basically, that Peoria Sports Complex is one of your favorite arenas. Describe why you say that.
Well, because you guys are here first.
Yes, that's true.
The best radio show here, and second, we, the best amenities here, the best beer, the best food, the great sight lines here. Peoria Sports Complex really is in a tapestry of beautiful places. Peoria is, in my opinion, the best.
And you've been all over from Florida. How many arenas, stadiums have you been to? Maybe
my nephew
20,
Don and I
25?
have been to every spring training venue in the major leagues.
And that's quite a few.
Yeah,
over 25 years. And do you have one particular team that you favor over the others?
Well, no. We're here for the experience, and we're going to just enjoy where we are right now. I'm going to let Don speak for a second that because, Don, what's your favorite place? Why do you come to this thing?
And there's Don putting on the headphones, play-by-play.
Well, it's just such a wonderful experience. You get to see professional baseball, but in a small, intimate venue.
Yeah.
You're right there. You're very close, and it's a laid-back atmosphere, and it's wonderful. We've been doing it for years. I live in Dallas, so I love the Texas Rangers.
Oh, cool.
Used to live in Atlanta. I grew up near there, so I love the Atlanta Braves, which aren't in the Cactus League.
Right.
But I tell you, Dodgertown was one of our favorite places at Vero Beach. And
now they moved out here.
And they moved out here, and we were there a few years ago. And I got to say, I was sad to see Dodgertown go, but I love the park they have here even better. It's fantastic.
Oh, is that right?
Just absolutely fantastic.
It really is.
Yeah, and what I like is the parks, especially in Arizona, especially the Cactus League, when they've done the really nice parks, they haven't done them to be mini major league parks. They've done them to be spring training.
That's right.
So you're still close. You're still close to the players. Smell the grass when you're sitting in the seats. Even if you're in the bleachers, it's fantastic.
It really is. And of course, they have a grass area for people to have like a little mini picnic. And it is a very intimate place. You're quite correct. And most of the venues are like that, and this is a good one. I do like this. This whole area is great. The amount of restaurants here. It's called P83, Peoria 83. Our office is right there in that building. You can see it from here. And we love it here, too, as well. It's a great area. But Talking Stick, where the D-backs play.
That's where we were 2 days ago.
And that's very nice.
That's a very nice part.
Yeah.
And it is so family-friendly. Like Andrew said, we've been doing this for 24 years. And we've both have 5 children between us. We had 0 when we started this.
Now, between you, we better clarify that.
But not between us.
Okay.
Right. Combined. That's probably a better way to say it. But it's very family-friendly. Yeah,
exactly.
But this place is very family-friendly. I go out, like you say, in the grassy area with people going, and they've got their kids, they've got their families. It's fantastic. You got to come out here.
And it's very calm here. Some stadiums just sometimes they have a little bit of hostility, friction. But you see, this is really cool. It's a family atmosphere. Yes. You got to love that, especially you all have kids. I have 4 kids, and even
4 kids. Wow.
Yeah, and I know I look way younger. And
way younger.
I have grandkids.
You have your hair, and I don't.
Well, I have it in the back. That's a ponytail.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I had to go somewhere, but I could put it up. No, maybe not. But you got to honor that too, because if you bring your kids, you remember the day when how old are your kids?
Well, my 16, 14, and 10, and
4 and 2. Yeah.
He's my younger one guy.
So if you bring your kids someplace, you don't want people, cussing and throwing bottles.
Oh, exactly. No, this is fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a generalization here, but the reality is Major League Baseball has managed spring training to make it a family-friendly venue.
Which is cool.
Yeah, they really work hard at it. They enforce it. They do a good job of maintaining standards. And you know what? Even with the price points, they're still accessible. You can come to a game.
That's right.
You can have a good meal and have a good time. And
look at that
guy right there. Look at that guy
right
there, right behind you there.
Yeah.
That's right.
A 2-year-old, 3.
A cute little kid right there.
Yeah,
he's got the city mini.
Yeah, and he's from Boston.
This is awesome. Look at that. He's getting a nice little a non-carbonated. No, it's a Diet Pepsi.
This guy
is Major League Baseball's poster child.
Yeah, but very cute and a well-behaved kid, and that's very cool. Yeah,
but Dave, I got to tell you something. Yeah. So the very first game, our very first trip we went to a Tigers game, and we sat behind this retired couple, and right behind us, and she's like, "Where are you from?" And we're telling us this is the very
Detroit
first trip
Tigers
we were ever on, and we tell her, and she goes, "Well, everybody comes here for a different reason."
That's interesting. Tell us some of the reasons.
Well, and I was going to say that's stuck with us throughout this whole time.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about spring training. Everybody comes here to relax, to have fun, to bring their families, and a few people come to see some baseball.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting why people come here.
You're right.
This is really more church than anything. Come on. We're gathered together and we're celebrating something that's larger than all of us.
Together today.
Come on. I'm not going to break into a hymn.
I'm not going to be praying.
Come on. I know your audience. I'm not going to do that. But the reality is there's something here that's cathartic and inspirational about it's renewal, it's life. And that's why I love spring training. That's why we come every year, right, Don?
And what I'm impressed, you're here with a big group of friends.
Yeah, we got
how many people?
There are 10 of us. 10 of us.
You got 10, and that friendship, the bonding, has to be one of the top reasons you do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You got to love
old friends and new.
Yeah. See, we met some new friends now. See, and who's your favorite radio show? Okay. Anyway. But it is really cool. No, and what I like about it, you don't see other, like he's wearing a Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
You got Texas Ranger. You're Houston, H for Houston. What is that?
It's a stretch.
Okay, you got Reds. But no one's like bickering like in politics.
Yeah, no.
If you look at the top level, the highest level, and your sports fans, and then you can pick your teams, but you honor and respect. I respect a lot of teams, and I
respect
have my
game.
I have my own team, but it doesn't mean you can't honor some of the phenomenal teams and players out there. In fact, you should if you're a true
especially
true fan.
What we're seeing out there today. I mean, these guys.
You see high number roster players hitting things, making plays that you realize, my gosh, they've changed their lives with those actions.
That's right.
I mean, and you were witness to it. You watched this person get this amazing hit at the bottom of the ninth, and you go, oh my God, he's number 84, and will he ever have this opportunity again to just make this happen? You feel like I am a part of his lineage.
That's right.
I'm witness to his history, and that's what's great about spring training.
There's no doubt about it. And if you can watch the game just as a pure sport, but you can watch it through the backstory of, like you just said, the youngsters that are coming up. They're 1 in a million chance. So hard to make the pros. And then you can watch it from that perspective, too, which even makes it even more emotional and passionate. So
absolutely.
There's a lot of ways to watch sports, and spring training would be one way to watch it that way. Because if you had a son or, a daughter, whatever, and there went and a big chance to make it to the top of their profession, how much would you be cheering? And whether they won or lost, you're going to honor the fact that they're there. That they're there.
I mean, that's why you guys are here.
That's
why you guys are here. That's why you brought your show here.
Yeah.
It's hope. It's optimism. It's everything that's right about the United States of America.
Yeah.
Here, right now, at this ballpark in Peoria, Arizona.
Nicely said. I'm voting for you for president.
Come on.
Right?
Come on. No, I'm voting for you for president. I mean, let's launch your campaign right now.
Okay, how about you or your VP?
I'll be your vice president. Absolutely.
That's a ticket. That's a ticket I would buy.
Yeah, see, I think that would be cool. But sports, they do bring the country together. I mean, look at the Olympics. I mean, USA, or whatever country you're from, it doesn't really matter. But the fact is, it brings people together, and that's a higher level awareness, I believe.
I agree.
That the culture, the countries, the states,
it finds a common bond in all of us, and it makes us gather together and unite.
So you're here today. Are you looking at any particular players? So getting back maybe somewhat to the sports, or is there any
it's
players?
Funny. It's all about experiences like this. I mean, come on. I walked past the NBC, the best hockey show in America on the radio right now, and I said, "Oh my God, Don, we've got to be a part of this right now." And I am on this show. That is great. Don, that's the greatest thing about spring training.
We do have to give a shout out to Brad Holman.
Who's
a very good friend of ours, who's a bullpen coach for the Texas Rangers.
Oh,
and he's kind of like the founder of our feast.
Yeah. We've been Andrew's been friends with him. We've been friends with him since he was in Single A.
Yeah, in the Wisconsin Timberwolves. Way back when.
And he's just a fantastic guy. And so we come out several, every other year, come out and see Brad.
Yeah, but more than that, I've stood in line behind Harry Carey for a beer.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I bugged Ernie Banks for an autograph to the point where I think he wanted to punch me.
We were at a red light next to Bob Euchre.
On his motorcycle.
On his motorcycle one year. Yeah, out here.
We've encountered so many great people and that's the greatest thing about spring training. I mean, if you're ever on the fence, and there are a lot of guys on the fence, we meet a lot of guys saying, "Gosh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do this. I wish my wife would let me do this. I wish I could afford it." And you know what? We go like, just do it. And if you don't love it, then it's not.
But that's
for
the best
you.
thing about 10 guys.
But if you
we
do
rent
it, you
one
love it.
house, all 10 of us. Sam over there, he's sleeping on one of 3 couches.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
he's our newbie. He's our pledge.
Oh, newbie.
Yeah, Sam. God bless him.
Hey, Sam, from Houston. There we go.
Yeah.
But, you got to love it. And despite the facts that, Ernie Banks you talked about, Harry Carey, there's only been one show that let you on the air because you guys are great people.
This is right.
Well,
this is right. This is right. The best show on radio, and we are a part of it right now. Look at these people like watching us.
Yeah, there's
being
a lot
on
of
the
people.
air with you. I mean,
we got a pretty nice crowd here.
Son of a
looking
gun.
at NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS, live at the Peoria Sports Complex. And but this is fun. But is any other particular players that you look at when you watch the game? Are you looking at prospects that might make it? Are you looking at some of the veterans? What do you do?
There's one guy named Sin-Soo Choo with the Texas Rangers. I've been following him ever since he was with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. And when I see him on these fields on these days, it just almost makes me want to cry because I saw him as a minor leaguer that struggled with the English language, and how is he going to fit into this? And now, of course, he's an impact player for the Texas Rangers. I mean, that's probably the greatest thing about our affiliation with Brad Holman is the bullpen coach of the Rangers, is that we get to see people developing and making the greatest opportunities that they can of this experience, and that's what's exciting about this.
Yeah, and we see a lot of guys where we'll see them. And you just notice, and you'll be like, that guy's got something. Then a few years down the road, bam, they're there on the majors.
And you were there. You were there,
yeah.
And you saw that one pitch. You saw that one hit.
Right.
That one breakthrough moment. I mean, this is theater.
It really
is theater.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. Now your team is it Texas or?
Well, that's a good one. I live in Tennessee. There's not a Major League Baseball team close by. I gravitate to my old Cincinnati Reds. I used to live in Houston, the Houston Astros, but I have to say my team now is the Texas Rangers because of Brad Holman. I mean, that's my team.
That's cool. Now you're Houston.
No, I live in Dallas.
Okay, you used to live in Houston.
It's Dallas, and I used to live in Houston, but I also used to live in Atlanta. So Braves, Rangers, same way with him. Follow Brad, but. Just like seeing it. Just like seeing all the guys.
We're just here for the baseball. I mean,
which is just fun in itself, and and to be bonding together too, and that's cool. Is this like a? No, maybe I'll say, okay, but what I'm going to say now, just to keep it tame, is this like a hall pass? Okay, just kidding.
Wow, no. This is a good question. He's a probing investigative journalist.
This is a very interesting point.
I think it is a hall pass.
Oh,
right?
great.
I mean, but it has limits, right, Don?
Well, see, maybe not the way you're saying, but so
keep it tame.
Andrew's my uncle, but he married my aunt, so his wife is my blood relative.
Right.
So, but
you keep an eye on him.
Yeah. So, so the fact of the matter is, he wouldn't be able to do it for 24 years if he weren't going with his little nephew.
This was my 30th birthday present, where my wife said, Don, why don't you take Andrew on a spring training trip? Yeah. Because he would love that.
Oh. And so that's given him carte blanche.
Oh, my gosh, that has been my pass.
I love that. In fact, I got to tell the story. So one year, Andrew calls up, and tickets were sold out. I want to say it was for the Reds in Plant City.
Yes, it was. Way back in the Great.
And they were sold out. And he was like, ma'am, he goes, but I'm coming down and I'm taking my nephew. Now, never mind the fact his nephew is 29 years old.
I mean, it's not like he's 4 years old. What am I going to do? I mean, you can't, ma'am, you got to help me out.
Right. So,
well, if you need an uncle for next year, I'll be your uncle. But next year you're going to be in Florida, right?
We will. We'll probably be in the Sarasota. This has been, normally it's 2 years in Florida, 1 year in Arizona. We alternate between the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic Coast. Because we try to get all these. But when Brad Holman got named pitching coach, we'll
probably be out here a little bit more.
Yeah, we're going to come out here a little bit more. But I think next year will be Sarasota, so we can see all the teams in the
because to be honest, we're also moochers.
We are. We used to live on people.
We love a free ticket.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I mean, we sleep on people's couches. Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Now Tennessee's closer anyway to the East Coast.
It is, but Southwest Airlines. I'm not being compensated for this plug, but but pretty affordable airfare, right, Don?
That's right.
Yeah, they're
cheap fares and low prices. And there's one near you.
We can get in there and make it happen.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, it's been really nice meeting you two and the whole gang because I'm sure this is sort of a highlight of your trip because you never thought this would happen.
I mean, we're on video right now. Sam is videoing us. This is awesome. So this will be on social media.
This could go viral.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
It could be up there with a dancing cat.
Yeah, I think this is good because, and then everyone will know Real Hockey Talk is Real Hockey Talk. And of course,
it's been our honor to be on Real Hockey Talk here at Peoria Sports Complex.
That was our bucket list for one of the spring trainings. We want to be on Hockey Talk,
and we have achieved this. This is awesome.
And I like before we go though, I like it says the 3B Club.
That's right.
Really love that. Is that the logo for your
beer,
group
baseball, and barbecue? We'll send you a shirt.
But I do.
We will send you a shirt.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're in.
I'm in. I'll be going to Florida with you.
You're in.
And maybe we'll bring the broadcast with us.
Broadcast. 4B. As long as we're not subsidizing it, that's all.
Yeah. Well, the check's not in the mail. But the thing is, one last thing, because I do love barbecue, and they have a couple places here that are decent. But I hear Tennessee, where you live, barbecue is the best in the nation. But you're in
I'm in Dallas.
So maybe I missed it.
This is a tough point.
This
here.
is tough. In
Texas first.
In Tennessee, it's all about pork, which I love. But in Dallas, if you go to it's beef brisket. If you go to Pecan Lodge in Dallas, I was just at the Salt Lick in Austin. It's the nirvana of barbecue. Oh, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Well, Andrew? I mean, I lived in Texas. I got to say the brisket is awesome in Texas. In Tennessee, it is the pork. I mean, the rendezvous, dry rub.
I like dry rub.
Pork barbecue is really supreme. And where I live is in the Nashville area. It's close enough to North Carolina where the vinegar-based sauce kind of comes into play. But I mean, the reality is barbecue. I mean, you could be real barbecue talk on NBC Sports, and
I would like that.
And you'd get a pretty good audience.
We could probably talk more about barbecue than baseball.
Absolutely,
wow,
absolutely.
So, what makes a good barbecue? Is it the sauce or the way they cook it?
It's the way they cook, and that's the thing about brisket. Because to be honest, I prefer pork, but it's way harder to cook a really good brisket than a really good pork.
Absolutely.
Because it's got to be juicy and tender, and it's a lot harder to do that with a slab of beef than a slab of pork. So
what my nephew says
is
absolutely correct. I mean, you can overcook the meat, and it dries it all out.
Wow. Well, I'm excited. I want to hit Dallas. I've never been there. I want to hit Tennessee. I'm going to do the taste test.
You call me. You've got my email.
I got your email. I got
you come on the road.
We're going to be there. And Don, right?
Yes.
So nice meeting you, and
nice
Andrew.
Meeting you.
So nice meeting you.
Good meeting you.
And we'll take a break now, but I appreciate you coming on and explaining your whole concept.
Big honor.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, and Kevin. We're going to take a break right now, and of course, this is Breakthrough Sports live on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 KDUS. We'll be right back.
For all your Coyotes news and analysis, tune in to AZ Sports Talk with Rock and Minuch weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060.
Oh, there. And welcome back to Breakthrough Sports right here on NBC Sports AM 1060. Greg Isaac, Dave here. And, of course, special thanks to some fans that we had out here.
Andrew and Don, really cool
25
people.
Years of spring training fun.
That's a baseball fan. And it's, bonding with what they say, like 15 friends or so.
More than that, I think. A bunch of people. This is great stuff.
We love it.
That's a document. Well, there's that, but it's a documentary you want to see. The buddies for many years, a lifetime,
and
going
good
on
people.
trips. Yeah,
I mean,
fantastic.
they're just here. Family-oriented baseball, and they were right about that. Major League Baseball does a lot to make it, and I love that. I mean, right, with your little son, you want calmness, you want good competition, but you don't want people getting a little bit rowdy. I don't.
I mean, the fun competition's good, but you're right. I mean, sometimes you see guys go overboard. Girls even,
In fact, I just heard they interviewed the Giant fan that was in a coma for 9 months, and they talked to him, and he has a whole new purpose in life. But that was 5 years ago. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Where he got pummeled by, sadly, in L.A. It's not representative of Dodger fans. It's just a couple people that should not have been, violent towards any type of person.
Well, at any sporting event, it's a safe place. It's supposed to be a safe place. I mean, you want to see that. But baseball does a good job. I mean, all sports do. I mean, you always have your bad apples. Even, I'm sure at baseball, there's been things that sometimes
Jersey.
Was find Flash Gordon again.
Yeah, I don't know
where he went off to.
Yeah, but
that's another one that's trying to be like Flash Gordon.
A lot of Mariner fans out here. You got to love it. I mean, it's good for the city of Phoenix too.
Yeah,
spring training because a lot of people from out of town come here. They enjoy. They enjoy the restaurants, the hotels, and
it's beautiful.
I love that. Oh, it looks like we're going to be on a break right now. So this is Breakthrough Sports live at the Peoria Sports Complex, watching the Angels and the Mariners, and we'll be right back after this break.
The fastest hour in sports talk radio is now part of your morning routine. The Blitz with Rich Gray. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Breakthrough Sports live at the Peoria Sports Complex on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 KDUS. Having a lot of fun here watching the Mariners and the Angels play. And, Greg, what's the score right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is, let's see. I'm just counting from the board. I see, okay, the Mariners 3 plus 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. I'm a math wizard. Wow. The Angels, almost the Padres, 2 plus 1 plus 4. So 8-7, the Angels have come back.
It's a new way of
the
counting.
Los Angeles Angels of El Segundo, Compton, Ventura Angels of Anaheim. Yes.
See, we can't quite see the scoreboard. There's some polls in front of us. Yeah. So. But I think Greg counted correctly, if I remember my
how to count last week.
Elementary school.
A lot of fun.
So it's a good game, good crowd, nice weather, having fun out here. Had some fans on, nice people, met some friends, and so baseball. And but a little breaking news. I love what you said about the King-Anaheim game. Hockey.
Well, yeah. I mean, we haven't been following it here, but I saw on my Facebook page from our very own Kevin what a first period we had in terms of fights. There's game misconducts, 10-minute misconducts. What was that, Kevin? Like 4 fighting majors per club. I mean, there's something like that. So I'm looking forward to checking out the highlights of that game.
Yeah, that's Kevin. Were you able to watch some of that at the studio?
No, that's not on at all. I just saw that and I just started laughing. I'm like, this is good. I wish this was on TV.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's down the stretch run. 2 teams battling for first place. Anaheim really hot. King still playing well. And, of course, they want to dominate. They're trying to dominate. Both teams trying to do that. So nothing like hockey, I got to tell you. Just love hockey. But we love baseball, too. And here we are at the Peoria Sports Complex. Almost a full house here. Angels and Mariners. People having fun. Very fan-friendly, very family-oriented. And you got to like that as well. And there are, as Greg would sort of describe, a lot of beautiful women here too. So that's all I'm going to say.
There are. Unfortunately, the only shirt that wasn't worn happened to be the Flash Gordon
Where
guy.
did he go anyway?
Well, he's making the rounds. He just keeps walking around and seeing if anyone will notice him, and a few have. I mean, actually, our friends that were on, they said hi to him.
Oh, they did, actually.
And we have, so we're going to see. I mean, if we see him again, we'd love to get him on and maybe take a video with him, and we could send it to Seth MacFarlane, maybe for TED Part 3.
Oh, that would be awesome if
Absolutely.
there is a TED Part 3.
I hope so. I'd love it.
So baseball, here we are, Greg. You love it. We both love it. Spring training. What do we got in terms of baseball action?
Well, there's a baseball game going on today. No.
What it is.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you kind of look at we like to talk about the National League West a lot. I wonder why. No, but the Diamondbacks, Zach Greinke, first game, first spring training outing, looked good for the Diamondbacks yesterday. And so, again, the key is spring training. You want to get in sync, but, you don't want to have injuries. And, we're seeing that already. The depth of Greinke's old team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, already being tested. Brett Anderson, expected probably be maybe number 3 starter this year, number 4, out 3 to 5 months, back surgery. He's battled injury throughout his whole career. He's had this same exact back surgery before, and it's rare for someone to have it again, and he's in that 10 percentile. Unfortunate. So, hopefully get a good surgery going there for him. It's unfortunate, still in his 20s and all that he's battled in terms of injuries. But, so their depth is tested. They have a lot of good young pitchers coming up their system, but you don't want to rush them. And so then we'll see. And then with the Giants. And so really for these 3 teams, I mean, any team, as we always talk about how close the race has potential of being, you're in a situation where you want to make sure that you just got to stay healthy. And injuries happen, obviously. Everyone gets banged up, and you have fluke injuries, all that stuff. But you want to get off to a hot start. You want to have a good spring training because, if you're a guy that battles an injury in spring training, even if you don't miss much playing time, it could affect your game for a long time, maybe even the whole year. So, if you could, you just want to get in the best shape possible. And, you got to have some luck, obviously, to stay healthy and go through that. But, with Diamondbacks, everyone's just pumped up to be down there, with Talking Stick and playing the Dodgers today. And
at the Camelback Ranch.
Camelback Ranch.
In progress.
Great place.
You got the White Sox at the Royals. Let's go down the list. Surprise Stadium, and that's about probably 15, 20 minutes west of where we're at right now. You got the Reds and Cubs in progress. Sloan Park. Greg, have you been to Sloan Park?
I have not.
Heard it's pretty nice, actually. Brewers Athletics at Holcomb Stadium. Did I say that right? Holcomb. I think I did.
Yeah.
And you got the Giants and Indians at Goodyear Ballpark. Again, that's out more southwest from here, probably a half hour. You got the Rangers and Giants in progress. Scottsdale Stadium, beautiful stadium. Angels, Mariners, of course, right here at Peoria Sports Complex, where we are doing a live broadcast on NBC Sports Radio. Padres, Rockies, Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, and, of course, the Rays and Orioles. Ed Smith Stadium. I haven't heard Ed Smith Stadium. What is that?
Yes. Not our friend Ed Smith.
Yeah, we know
Ed
Smith.
It should be. He's a
Where is that, anyway?
We'll have to get in touch.
I don't even know
have
where.
Social media and Facebook. So I want to talk a little bit. Yeah, he's a great guy, and we'd love to get him down here.
Hey, Kevin, do you know where Ed Smith Stadium is?
I'd never heard of it.
Wow.
Well, that's in Florida, right? You said it was, what teams did you say?
Rays and Orioles.
Yeah, so down there in Florida.
They have just personal names for stadiums out there.
They have the David S. Isaac Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So a lot of action on tap here in Arizona and
in
fun,
Florida.
fun.
Yeah, and it's going to fly by fast. Get out there. And other incentive, my son Mason's older sister, so this stepdaughter, she is singing the national anthem out where it's right by the zoo where Oakland A's have their home spring training games. The Dodgers are visiting there.
Oh. That's today?
No, on Thursday, the 10th. So this coming up Thursday.
Oh,
and then a week from then, she'll be Camelback Ranch opening up the anthem there.
Oh, wow.
When the Kansas City Royals visit the Dodgers. And I had no input on getting that scheduled with the club. No, but no, it's great situation. Over there, so if you're out there and see her, just go. Yeah, that weird dude that's talking on the show. He's a stepdaughter.
Oh, and they got a rundown going on.
They do.
Home and third base, the catcher. I think it was the catcher. May have tagged him out. And
due to copyright rules, Dave, you can't do the play-by-play.
Oh yeah.
No,
maybe you're right. I don't know.
No, but so a lot of fun stuff going on. But just in general, to get out to all the different parks, everyone's unique in one way or another, or you go down to Mesa, where you have the Cubs. Obviously,
fans
you have
waving right now.
Obviously, you have a good situation there with the Cubs this year, but the excitement starts in spring training. And again, wins or losses don't matter in spring training, and you just have fun. And it's fun to see, it's the veterans start to get back in playing shape for the season, and the position battles, especially young guys. Coming through systems, we'll see with the Diamondbacks, maybe who wins that number 5 spot. You got Bradley, Ray, some different guys in there, and just getting off to that hot start now, and so that's what you need is in spring training, just get that chemistry together, and then as soon as that first real game happens, you want to just start rolling from there.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and there's a lot of renewed hope here in Arizona with the D-backs.
Oh man, it's great.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, and you see it all around. Even if you're not a D-backs fan, but a baseball fan, and you still like that excitement, and you want everything to go as planned. I mean, you've seen, it's a passionate fan base, and they've been waiting. I mean, they had a couple of years ago. That season, first year with Gibson, I believe, or when he took over, where they surprised, won the division, and lost was it to Milwaukee, I believe, in the division series.
Yeah.
However, look at it like this. I mean, then obviously things went down a little. They had a great farm system. Kevin Towers, made some questionable moves. Right. He's gone. And Dave Stewart, sure, he gave up a lot for Shelby Miller and company, but you got to love the boldness. Frankie, Miller, Corbin at the top. It's a very strong 1-2-3 if they're all going. And, and offensively, this second-best offense in the National League last year. And so there's no doubt, Goldschmidt and Pollock, together in the lineup are just outstanding. And so you just got to hope some of the other guys, maybe some of the young guys in the infield, could pick it up a little. Gene Segura coming over again. Segura had that amazing, rookie year, and unfortunately, some tragedy, in the family, and so it's obviously been tough. But change of scenery now, and let's see how he could do. The potential is there for him to be more than just an average shortstop. He has that ability to be an above-average, offensively as well, shortstop, and that would be huge if they got that, and scary for the other clubs there in the National League West.
So you mentioned probably the top three pitchers for the Dodgers. Yes. What about 4 and 5? Any?
Oh, for the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the D-backs.
Ruby De La Rosa and, Robbie Ray will be battling it out. And here's the thing with De La Rosa. You got to remember, he's, DeJohn Watson back when he was with L.A., they were always high on him. And, of course, he was involved in the move to bring Adrian Gonzalez there. And then, of course, Alan Webster was part of that, and Alan Webster part of the move with him for Wade Miley. But De La Rosa's always had that potential. He's a guy that you would expect at some point to see him throwing a no-hitter, but he might walk 5 guys. So the command, just becoming a smarter pitcher over time, but the stuff is there to just be great. So that's the thing, is that they're 1 through 4. If De La Rosa can get some consistency, it could be good. Very good, yeah. And then Robbie Ray, Archie Bradley, some guys battling it out. And again, Bradley had been one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. He has good stuff still. It's not like he's disappeared over the year.
It's been a while, though. I know he's still young.
Yeah, he can pull it together, and so the potential is there. There's depth. They got Clifford, the bullpen to help with, Ziegler at the end. But here's the thing: is that they have they could be really good. There's no doubt. But the question is, you bring in new faces. You got to get the chemistry going. But I do believe this is a different situation than what the Padres have done. Remember with the Padres last year? One of the Padres made a bunch of different trades, brought in a bunch of different types of players, but not really guys that you would think would mesh well. You bring in Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, obviously guys that could provide for your lineup, but at this point in their careers, not, multi-dimensional per se. And then, you look at the Diamondbacks, what they did, bringing in an ace like Greinke. Okay, then a number 2 guy behind him in Shelby Miller. And just kind of how they've done it, even with new pieces, they're more of a fit. The Padres, it wasn't the fit. That's why it didn't work. So chemistry, I don't think, will be a huge deal. They stay healthy. You got a perennial MVP candidate in Goldschmidt. Yeah. But now another guy in Pollock who, the type of overall game he brings, not just great defensively, but we've seen offensively, he has the power. He can get on base. He can steal bases. It's like another Goldschmidt type, maybe a little more speed, a little less power. But, wow. So when you have guys like that in your lineup, you got to like it. And, and obviously Inciarte had a great season for them last year. They'll miss him, but there's enough outfield depth, and if Yasmani Tomas, picks it up and could play well defensively, and his offensive game grows, you'll be fine. So, a lot of good things should come this year. There's always risk, but any team could have risks. You could bring in risks that a Greinke doesn't live up to expectations and stuff. But again, he's a smart guy. He's a big fan of the game as well. He wants to be a team executive when he's done, a scout. They bring him places, sometimes scouts with other teams. Even the Diamondbacks will ask things because they know he wants to be a GM. And we always say the funny story is when he was with the Dodgers and catcher A.J. Ellis, and they're good friends. Ellis, one of the leaders there. Towards the trade deadline a few years ago, how would you improve the team? And he said, I would trade you. But it was true at the time because he was trying to say to shore up another hole. But that's the truth of the matter. Attendance today, 8,425, so nicely attended game here. But, so Greinke's that smart guy. He's a great athlete, stays in great shape. I wouldn't worry about it. 3-4 years down the line, no matter how great shape he stays in, sure, that's going to be a lot of money. But you know what? You had to do it. It could lead to other things. If you do win a championship, it could lead to a lot and different revenue streams that could open up from a star-studded move like that. And so, again, those are some of the things to like with the team. They have to go right. If you have a major injury with the Diamondbacks, let's say a Goldschmidt got hurt again, something like that, yes, that obviously would be disastrous. But, if you look other teams, if Adrian Gonzalez got hurt for a long time, that would hurt the Dodgers, Buster Posey. So you got to stay healthy.
And right now, middle of the eighth, L.A. Dodgers leading the D-backs 6-2. So not that it's, significant, but it's a score. You got the Chicago White Sox leading KC. Kansas City 6-4, Milwaukee losing to Oakland 7-2, San Francisco leading Cleveland 6-2, Texas 7, San Francisco, a split squad evidently 7-3, and then of course here right now the LA Angels leading Seattle at the end of 8th. 8-7.
8-7.
Seattle took, I think, a 3-zip lead early on.
They did, yeah.
But, so that's sort of cool, and there's some other scores, San Diego over Colorado 5-3.
And the key here is, again, watching some of the individuals with these young guys and guys battling it out for positions, on their clubs. And a lot of eyes out here, with the Diamondbacks, their young infielders. There's obviously a lot of popularity out here with the Dodgers, and, they're at Camelback. In fact, social media the other day, even when both teams were playing, different teams not playing each other like they are today, but the Dodgers were the team trending out here. And, that's, we're from L.A. I mean, so, but there's respect to all the teams, but they're young pitchers they have, and Corey Seager, who, is probably the next superstar in the league. So a lot of fans on hand watching that and wonder, Yasiel Puig did everything he was asked to do. He got into shape. Basically no body fat now. So everyone's hoping with him. So a lot of excitement down there to see them. And then with the Giants and their fans there in Scottsdale, Johnny Cueto coming over. So a lot of exciting stuff over there. And again, with Jeff Shamarja, if he's healthy, I think he's going to have a very good year for them. So they're top three. If those guys are healthy and doing their thing, I don't know if anyone in the division could match that when you could put out Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto, and Jeff Shamarja, if Shamarja's back on track. And remember, 2 years ago he was great with the Cubs. He's always had great stuff, but we'll see. And it's amazing because it seems like he's been around forever, but he's still in his prime years for quite a while, and so we'll see how he does there. And then they have the experience of the back and the Matt Cains, the Jake Peavies of the world. Again, if they stay healthy, that experience, maybe they could push through. So, you can't really predict who will come on top. And, Dave, you like to talk about advanced stats and stuff. Most of the fantasy advanced stats things, compared to that, who do you think between those three teams most, and I'm not talking about insider or analysts that are more in tune with the baseball world. I'm talking about running through a computer system and all that stuff. Out of those three teams, who do you feel most of these sites?
Again?
The Dodgers, Giants, and Diamondbacks.
Dodgers.
Yes, in some cases still by far.
Yeah.
Because if everything goes as planned, there's still all that potential there. However, when you look at it from a realism standpoint, they have a ton of questions because will Jock Peterson regain form? He worked on his swing, and he looks like a different player. That would be big for them, and Puig staying healthy. But again, if some of that stuff doesn't happen, then you could have some issues. If they have injuries to their starting rotation after Kershaw, then you could be in a world of hurt. Even though they have a ton of starters they can throw in there, you're already testing that now. And then with the Giants, again, they built their depth. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, no, you can finish that, and then I'll finish with something sort of interesting.
Oh, yeah, I know. And with the Diamondbacks, again, when you have two guys, when you have A.G. Pollock and Goldschmidt in your lineup, I mean, it makes other guys better because guys that go in front of them, they might see better pitches.
Oh, yeah.
Or, Pollock, towards the top of the order, he'll get on base. So you always got someone on base there unless he hits a home run.
No doubt.
Exciting.
It is exciting. And, here's something interesting that it's an offshoot of a political situation with U.S.-Cuba relations being, not too bad now, opening up, trade and travel and so on. But President Obama is expected to attend an exhibition game in Havana later this month. And Major League Baseball proposed a way to allow Cuban players to play for U.S. teams without having to defect.
Yeah.
So that's sort of interesting. It really opens up, a political situation, opening up the door for, some other possibilities for other countries to play in the U.S. And, you got to think that's sort of a cool deal, whether it's, people were for or against the U.S.-Cuban relations. However, it's good for, I think it's good for baseball.
It is, and it's going to be great. And we see a lot of great young players coming over from Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and so it's fantastic. And there's still there's just talent from all around the world, and the players that choose to come over in North America to play in Major League Baseball, the easiest way possible for them to make that happen would be great. Because sometimes when they have to defect, I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah, it really is. There's no doubt, and so you got to like that. I guess it sends a message to a lot of companies in the United States, sports and so on, where the president's going to be watching a game in Havana. In fact, the Cuban national team will play the Tampa Bay Rays also. And so I think, there's a lot of things opening up. And, I think if countries can get along, well, it's good for the people.
Yeah.
It sounds like to me. So.
Well, not only different countries, but folks inside a single country, if they can start getting along.
I
don't know if that will ever happen.
Yeah, that's going to be a potential struggle for a while. But you got to like to see, you like to see that. A lot of great Cuban players.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely.
There's no question, and opens up the door a bit for that. So, we honor Major League Baseball for, working out something with the Cuban government to make it safe. Why not?
Yeah,
absolutely. Too many people are dying in the boats trying to get to U.S.
Yes.
So that's sort of a cool deal. So, wow. And so the show sort of flew by. Of course, we're
here
minutes, live at the Peoria Sports Complex. A beautiful day, cloud covered. Nevertheless, a nice breeze. Very nice crowd here. Angels, I think, probably still winning 8-7.
Yeah, 8-7. There's other scoreboards up there that even though I've been staring at, I didn't notice because.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm weird. 8-7. Still obviously the ninth and the Angels half of it, so top of the ninth. Yeah. Almost over here, and check out the box scores, and I'm sure there's a place to find highlights, perhaps. Sometimes MLB TV, they get them to kind of see who stood out and who had some big games for these teams. And,
exactly.
Up here, we haven't really paid attention. I haven't even heard anyone score, really. I mean, the crowd noise, yes, but where we're at, it's still a little harder to hear.
Right field, right down the foul line. And check out our website for, up-to-date news and where we're going to be and where we're going to broadcast from, of course, breakradioshow.com. That's break, B as in boy, REAK, radioshow.com. Check out our website.
Absolutely, and be sure when you check it out, become our fan on Facebook. You'll see the big F, which in our case, it stands for Facebook at the top right, and we ask you to do that because they don't like to give our Facebook link out. See, the thing with Facebook is if you change your fan page link once, and we've had that for like 5-6 years, and it must have been changed a while ago, they don't let you change it again. And then there's this confusing process to start a new page but link it in so you don't lose fans, whatever it is. And the thing with that, getting back on topic here, Greg, is that you have that situation where our URL is such a ridiculously long name. You have your Facebook.com, then it's Breakthrough Thinking Broadcasting Network. I would never want to make anyone type that in. That's just awful.
It's easy. Just go
to our website.
Push on the big F. breakradioshow.com. So
yeah, a lot of fun.
This has been a fun event. We thank Andrew Ottman and his nephew Don for joining us. Good fans.
Absolutely. And special thanks everyone up here, especially in the all-you-can-eat pavilion. They're getting everything kind of set up because there was a lot going on, unexpected last-minute things going on. So, but they went above and beyond to make sure everything went smooth. And so definitely great time here, and love to come back and maybe visit some of the other spring training places
cool.
as well.
Yeah. And you too. Yeah, follow us, and you too might be a fan that gets to be interviewed on Real Hockey Talk and Breakthrough Sports.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, and we'll be traveling around the city here.
Yeah, and especially with hockey, Coyote fans, or if you're a casual hockey fan, NHL fan, definitely, get in touch with us. And, we want to bring more fans, especially in the hockey realm, on the air because Phoenix is a very good hockey market. It is. And we've seen how great youth hockey has been out here. And, we always, and hopefully next week again before the playoffs start, we'll get the Knights on, Phoenix Knights, the Junior 8 club on again. Before the playoffs start, because they're in their last home the weekend of the season, and then I believe they go Ontario to start the playoffs, California.
Nice.
But yeah, get out, because we want that, and make sure we want to put some things on, and hockey fans, like-minded individuals, and with that, and I always say with hockey fans and big-time fans, you're kind of like a family. And I'm not just talking about with the West Coast and Phoenix, but even other places. I mean, and not to say there's not as many hockey fans, but the point is you run into someone, you love hockey too. You can right away start a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, with football and stuff, everyone always expects everyone to. And I don't really like football, but people just randomly will come up and, how about the Ravens that day? Who? But with hockey, you don't hear that. But when the other person's a fan, then all of a sudden you start, and all the fun knowledge, all the stuff you can talk about. So always a good time with that.
That's right. Is this
going to the bottom of the ninth? 9-7. I guess the Angels of Ventura, San Diego, Anaheim have taken a 9-7 lead.
Wow. So half inning to go. Yeah. And this is Breakthrough Sports live at the Peoria Sports Complex, NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, KDUS, signing off now, and we'll be back on again next Saturday. Have a great day. Kevin, thank you, and we'll see you soon.